I'm here because my husband wanted to live an upper-class lifestyle that was not going to happen.
I want the judge to know that Valerie has given up on her appearance and it's affected our daughter. I would talk to Val about, well, you know, baby, why don't you do your hair? And she would get an attitude with me.
Wait a minute, your husband wanted you to go to hairdresser and you complained?
He didn't give me no money for it.
Now that's all I've ever heard.
Exactly.
Now, Valerie Kirkpatrick says her husband David's expensive taste has ruined their marriage, and she wants him to pay spousal support in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of David Kirkpatrick versus Valerie Kirkpatrick. After 10 years of marriage, you're divorcing. And Mrs. Kirkpatrick, you want him to pay you spousal support, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened?
Basically, we got married in college, both of us working and everything. And I think my husband had in his mind that when you start off and you graduate from college, that you start off making a six-figure income. And in reality world, that's not true.
Some of us do, some of us do.
That's true also, but in our case, we didn't.
All right.
Because we both needed to have that experience in order to make those figures.
Right.
And he lived in the world of, he wanted to live in the upper crust world and start off buying the big houses and having the cars and everything. And at that point in time, we couldn't afford it.
So did you buy the big house and the big car? And
No,
the
we
cars?
didn't.
So you start arguing over that immediately?
Yes.
Okay. Then what?
Then we had our daughter 2 years later after we got married, and the town that we lived in was based off of the government elections. So if the government elections didn't go a certain way, the jobs got cut.
And you think it was limited to your town only?
No, I don't think it was
Oh.
limited to our town, but seeing as the money that we wanted to make and how we wanted to take our careers, we needed to move out of a small town and come to a big city. And that's when we moved to Chicago.
Okay.
And when we moved to Chicago, we moved in with my parents, seeing as we didn't have a place to stay. And my mom offered to babysit our daughter while we both looked for a job and try to get started on the careers that we wanted to.
What was your career choice?
I got a degree in business management.
And so with that business management degree, what was your career choice?
My career choice, I wanted to be in business, but I wanted to take it slow and start off. I dealt with mainly administrative assistant type jobs and everything, because that is what I had experience in.
And what was your career choice, Mr. Kirkpatrick?
Network administration. I had gotten a degree in computer science.
So what did you decide to do?
What we decided to do was move from Oak Ridge and move to Chicago, move in with Valerie's parents, and so we would not.
So all of these are wise decisions, and you're thinking and you're trying to make your career choices, and you do it well. And what happened?
So what happened was, after I got here, Valerie started looking for a job first, and she went on an interview, and I said, whoa, wait a minute, it's time for me to make a move. And the in-laws, they were very supportive. You know, they didn't come and say, well, you know, you need to get out and look. But after Valerie initiated, then I said, well, you know, I need to speed up the pace.
Step up to the plate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I did, and I ended up getting a job out in Carroll Stream, Illinois.
So far, so good. You got a job, she got a job?
No, I didn't have a job yet.
Oh, you didn't get yours. You got yours first, the way you wanted to do it.
Yes.
All right, big man.
It was not bad at all. I'm going to work, coming home, and she decides that at this point in time, she wants to be a homemaker, like her mother. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, a homemaker? Well, okay, let's try this out. But we still weren't saving any money. And my concern was...
Why weren't you saving? You're living with her parents.
Exactly.
We were living rent-free. We only had to pay for food.
And you got a good job. Why aren't you saving?
The reason why was we were contributing, paying bills, as in giving a little bit for rent, giving a little bit for light, giving a little bit for phone.
As you should have.
Exactly. I had no problem with that. But
I was contributing in the household as best as I could, making sure our daughter was okay. I was working part-time.
So you made a choice. I don't really want to go out and pursue this career, even though I have a degree in it. I want to get a job that I only work like part-time.
Right.
It doesn't require me to spend a lot of hours away from home, and I can spend more time with my daughter.
Right.
But your husband wasn't in quite agreement with that, right?
No, he was not, because he felt that I needed to get out there and work a full-time job so that we can move to the place where he wanted to move.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, the reason why I went that direction was because when I'd get home, she said she wanted to be a homemaker. Well, one, we had one room in the house. The room was not cleaned up. The bed was not made.
He figured that I should be Little Miss Homemaker, come home, make sure that I'm sitting there and have a tray full of food for him when he come home from work.
I had to get it. Her mother had to say, baby, you know, if you're going to be a homemaker, at least you can fix the man's plate of food. I mean,
and she knows that you're the kind of man that like to eat some food now.
He gained 100 pounds our first year of marriage,
right,
so he can't say that I did not cook.
Now,
Well, no, yes, he can. Just because he gained 100 pounds.
He gained 100
Hold on a
pounds
second.
off of my
It
food.
doesn't mean that it was your cooking. It
No.
could have been your mother's cooking.
No.
It could have been fast food.
No.
And
Well,
it could
that
have
too,
been
because
Sally's
he
cooking.
ate out a
Who
lot,
knows
too.
how he gained all that
well,
weight?
yeah, exactly. How
All
I gained
of
the
the
weight,
above.
I stopped playing football. I became inactive. That's how I gained the weight.
And you kept eating the same amount of food you ate when you was playing football. And
Exactly.
therefore, you...
Exactly. Metabolism just didn't kick in.
I got it.
Yes. So now...
But you're still wanting this house and wanting to move.
Well, it wasn't that. It was. I said, well, we should move out closer to where I'm working, and
Makes
the reason
sense.
exactly waking up 5 o'clock in the morning, as she knows, I have.
Okay, so what happened? What happened? Come on, move it along.
Well, anyway, I decided I'm moving out to Carroll Stream. Are you coming with me?
No,
And she
that
said,
is not
she
how it
said,
went. That
she
is not
said
how
no.
it
The
went.
reason why is I wanted to provide for my family. I wanted my family under
roof.
my roof. And she was like, no. And I felt she was running away from responsibilities. Also
That
with
was
our
not
daughter.
it.
The problem I had is like, if she's going to be a homemaker, she could at least do our daughter's hair every day. My daughter's hair would get done once a week. It
You
would
mean
be
combed?
matted. Combed, yes.
It would
And
not be matted. I would braid her hair.
If
She
you
has
have a
a
picture of our
lot
daughter,
of
you
hair.
see our daughter's hair is down to here, which that's not even an issue, but your hair should be done.
Combed.
And combed. It should not be matted.
You wouldn't comb the daughter's hair regularly?
I combed her hair
How
every couple
often?
of days because she has a lot of hair.
once
I
a
would
week.
braid her hair.
So when you combed it every couple of days with a lot of hair, that took a lot of time.
Yes.
And if you're at home as a homemaker, what's wrong? You got time. Why you
They
can't take
didn't
the
say
time to
that
comb
I
her
didn't
every
do
day?
it. I did
You
comb
just
her
said
hair every
every
couple of
couple of
days.
days. Right, what's
If I'm
wrong with
braiding her
every day?
hair, I'm braiding it up tight, and then I would take it down every couple of days to redo it again.
It would be once
It's not
a
something
week.
that the hair that she has is not something that you're gonna spend every day. I had to think of the future when she started school
It was
and the time that it
no,
takes to do
it was
her
not
hair.
on a regular. It
But
was
she
not on a
wasn't
regular
in school
basis.
then.
No.
And you were at home, so what was wrong with taking the time? You had the time.
All
It was
day.
nothing wrong with taking the time, but her hair was never
chose,
matted.
She chose not to.
When divorce court continues.
Wait a minute, your husband wanted you to go to hairdresser and you complained?
He didn't give me no money for it.
Now that beats all I've ever heard.
Exactly.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Valerie Kirkpatrick, who says her husband David pushed them to live beyond their financial means.
And the issues that I had was that, along with our marriage, I'm like, you know, I would talk to Val about, well, you know, baby, why don't you do your hair? And she would get an attitude with me, and I'd say, you know, what's wrong with that? If we're gonna go out, at least you know
My
you can
hair
do your
was
hair.
always
You
done
say,
anytime we
yeah,
ever went
You know
anywhere.
what?
So the thing
cannot
is, you
say
started
that.
to say that she began
Her-
not to take an interest in her appearance. Did that happen?
No, that did not
That
happen.
is so.
I'm sitting at home
That
relaxing.
is
If
so.
I'm working part-time and making sure that I'm taking care of my
Hold on a
daughter,
second.
I'm not going to sit around the house and wear heels every day and have my hair
I wasn't
pinned up like I
expecting.
went to
I
the
wasn't
beauty shop every
expecting
day.
heels. I was not.
I made sure
if
my
you,
hair was
I
in a
expect
presentable
that you
way.
should have your
so
hair
that if-
done,
Okay,
not
both of you
done.
can't talk
over.
at the same time.
If anybody ever came over, if we ever went any place, I was presentable as the way that I could see fit that I was doing.
But it wasn't quite what he
It
was.
wasn't what he wanted
I
because
do
he
not
wanted
call
me to go to
bumping
the
the ends.
hairdresser and all of
I
this
do
stuff.
not call
Wait a minute,
bumping
your
the
husband
ends.
wanted you to go to hairdresser and you complained?
He didn't give me no money for it.
I am not
complained if
lying.
He didn't give me no money for
Yeah,
it.
the-
Now that beats
Now-
all I've ever heard. He wanted you to go.
Now-
He didn't give me any money for it.
So he
That's
wasn't
not
willing to
true.
pay for it.
No, he was not.
If I was
Well, wait
only
a minute.
one
If you-
working, where would the money
If
come
he's
from?
working full-time, you're working part-time, you're living at your parents' home, paying little or of nothing, basically, certainly not
We
half
couldn't
you.
afford it.
What?
It was a point of we were trying to
You
make
couldn't afford
I sat
$30
back-
a week? $40 a week?
We couldn't afford it because we were
No.
making sure that we
No.
were paying
I
back
had a
bills
job,
plus
it was
back
paying-
student
it was
loans.
paying
What kind of
42
money were you making?
I was making $42,000 a year. It came out to be $1,236 after taxes every 2 weeks.
That's about $3,600, $3,900 a
And-
month.
and-
But it wasn't working out that
We
way.
were
When we
pa-
had car payments, student
We-
loans,
we had
him
a
paying
co-
for his clothes.
We were
because he
not
had to
paying
look
on our
good for
school
his
loans.
job.
What it sounds like to me is what happened in terms of minimum wage job
She paid
versus
the bills.
career is that somewhere along the line, after the college and having the career and wanting to move further ahead, that you lost interest. What happened?
I put more interest into my child,
I
basically.
cannot say that.
And you thought that you helped your child by living and working beyond your ability? What do you think? What image were you showing her? I've gone to college. I'm a woman. Your child's a daughter. I have the ability to do this. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to earn minimum wage.
But
there are people who earn minimum wage who only have the
but it
ability to
wasn't
do
like
that.
it was something that I kept for a long. I kept this job for maybe like 3 months.
Okay, when
At
did you
that
get
time,
to another job? Tell me that.
I got to another job probably about 3 months after I had got.
So you went
this
off into
job.
career?
Yes, I went
So
off
we're
into
stuck
a
on
career.
2 months of living.
Right.
Oh, let me get past that. What's the other reason? Something about your daughter? You don't like the way she takes care of your daughter?
Right. She did not. She said she spent time taking care of her. I did not see that. What she had to do, she was not doing.
And that's why all this is ended.
Yes.
And there's nobody else in the picture.
Well, no. Well, along with that, the affection, the affection went away between us.
That went away
and
after I had the baby, which a lot of women do.
Oh, that-
They,
It
went
they
away
don't have
No,
feelings for their
no.
husband.
You were no
sometimes
longer
after-
interested in having
She was
relations
no
with
longer
your husband?
interested in me, but I
It
was still
wasn't that.
interested in
It
her.
was just that after I had our baby, I didn't care for sex. It was just that I didn't want it because I didn't want to get pregnant again. I had 2 miscarriages
you
before I
could
had my
not
daughter.
get pregnant again and have sex. You haven't figured that out?
I understand that, but it was just the point of I was not interested in at that time,
You
and
just
I
wasn't
told
interested
him.
in sex.
Right.
When divorce court continues.
She knew that I wanted children. Why would she go about having her tubes burned?
Tubal ligation.
Exactly.
Use that phrase. Sounds much better.
Yes, tubal ligation.
You're too intelligent to sit up here talking about tubes burned, okay?
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of David Kirkpatrick, who says his wife Valerie lost interest in him sexually.
So maybe your whole interest in sex was just so you could have a baby. Once you had the baby, it's like, I have no more need for it.
No, it wasn't before that because
it
we've
seemed
always
like that to
had
me.
always had a good sex life before the baby
Did you go
came.
through postpartum depression? Do you think
I
that's
did
what it
probably
was?
like 6 months, yes.
Sounds
that
like a little bit longer than
and
6
that
months.
was at the time when we had moved to Chicago and everything, and it was just like I had to sit back and reflect on what it is that I wanted to do.
And what did you want to do? Stay at home?
At one point in time, for a couple of months, I did want to stay at home.
So then your relationship ended, and I mean, in terms of the intimacy, that got lost, and so
Right.
one thing led to another, right?
Well, I think the final straw for me was.
Let's get to the final straw.
What happened was she decided that she didn't want any more children, and before we got married, after I expressed to her that I wanted 3 to 4 children.
And did she agree to that, or you just
No,
expressed?
did not
in
agree
the
to that.
in the very beginning,
and
she
he did not
did
say
not
3
have
or
a
4.
problem.
He said he wanted 5.
5.
Well,
Did you agree to that?
No.
Well, what happened was after getting a job and having insurance, she decided that she wanted to have her tubes burned, and
No,
that's what
after we had been arguing for months on end, I told you that I did not want to have another baby because I was not going to be sitting back being a single mom with 2 or 3 kids and you not helping me take care of them.
So
we
you
were
just
still
like-
we were still together. We
We
weren't
were on the verge of splitting
right,
up.
but you said like we were.
Well,
we
that
were
makes
apart.
sense. You don't need to bring another child in the world if all you're doing is arguing and fighting. It's about to
Exactly,
split
but
up.
if that's the case, it wasn't like we were doing anything. But the thing about it is that if there was chance to work it out, and she knew that I wanted children, why would she go about having her tubes burned, which she did?
Tubal ligation.
Exactly, yes, tubal
Use that
ligation.
phrase. Sounds much better.
Yes, tubal ligation.
You're too intelligent to sit up here talking about tubes burned, okay?
Yes, sorry about that.
So that created a problem in the marriage.
Yes, it did, and I kind of consider that one of the final straws, and so I decided.
So you
to
went
move.
on to somebody else that would give you some more children.
Well, it didn't happen just like that, but yes, I do
It
have
just
another
wasn't
child.
this-
And now you
had
have
it.
another child
Yes,
by somebody else.
yes.
So now you want spousal support.
Yes, because my child support got cut by $700.
So what do you mean your child support got cut?
Yes.
I went after him for child support for 2 years straight.
And
they
how
could
much
not
was it?
find him. It was almost $1,000 a month
By court order?
by court order, and they could not find him. And the only reason why it was $1,000 a month was because he kept avoiding the court service.
That is not true.
And then so what
Can't be.
they
Okay,
did was
let her explain.
What they did was they
Uh-huh.
based the child support off of what my bills were for the month and cut it in half.
And so it was $1,000 a month.
Almost yes.
Okay, and
And
then
so when he finally
Showed
learned that
up.
they were taking, he finally showed up. Then he took his stuff in and they cut down the child support to $300 a month.
The divorce court continues.
what a lot of women go through after they give birth, you feel that longing and need to stay home with your child and you forget about your career.
Divorce court continues in the case of Valerie Kirkpatrick, who says she wants her husband David to pay spousal support.
Now you want money for you.
Right.
When he went to court and asked for a reduction of the child support, did you at that time ask for spousal support?
No, because I wasn't there.
So you didn't show up?
She
No,
was working
and I
at the
didn't
time.
have to show
She
up.
was because
Are
she
you
was
working now?
No, I
Why
got
aren't you
laid
working?
off. I got downsized. a
What
couple
type
months
of
ago.
income? What type of employment?
I was a operations clerk for a stockbroker firm.
So are you now in your profession for which you were trained and educated?
Yes,
Okay. And your daughter's how old?
she's 7,
And you got laid off. How long have you been laid off?
a month.
In your position, Mr. Kirkpatrick?
I don't even understand why she's even trying to go for spousal support because I have been supportive. My wages are being garnished for child support.
And you have another child?
Yes, and I do have another child, yes.
But your child support is not coming like it's supposed to.
Okay, here's what's going on, and here's the court's order. Whether the child support is coming like it's supposed to, you need to go and get a wage garnishment. And if there is a wage garnishment, as he just said there is, and that's the employer is required to send the money according to the court order. There's a court order, there's a wage garnishment, employer not complying, your remedy is go against the employer. There's a remedy against the employer.
Right.
Because they're taking it out of his check. So they're supposed to send it to you immediately.
Right.
And that's
Employer
what
not
they're
doing that, you file action against the employer. You don't know how to do that?
Well,
Contact your
I
local
have
district
started
attorney's
doing
office.
that.
But the court has made an order for child support, has evaluated his income, and has made a determination that that's all that he can pay. This court is not an appellate court, so I can't overrule that judge. Secondly, you've been separated for almost 6 years. You married, according to these papers, in 91. You separated in 95, so you lived together 4 years. Although the total marriage, because you're not yet divorced, is 10 years, you only lived together 4. You've lived separate and apart 6. You've lived apart longer than you've lived together. During those 6 years, you managed to support yourself. Now, the reason you want to come back to the court, this court, to ask for spousal support is because another court said this is all you can get in child support. But the reason we can't do this is because he's already paying child support, which reduces his income. And according to these papers, you're making $1,600 a month.
Yes.
All right? So if he's paying child support, that's $300 a month, plus the taxes that comes off the top of his income. Plus, I have to take in consideration that he has another child. So you're not entitled to spousal support for all those reasons. If you had lived together for 10 years or more, yeah, you've established a lifestyle of depending upon his money for support. You haven't done that. Not for 10 years, you did it for 4. But you've been apart longer than you were together. So for all of those reasons, the income is not available. You weren't living together to establish that lifestyle long enough. You've managed to support yourself without him for the last 6 years. You have a good education. You can work. You can earn money, working in your capacity, working up to par, working up to your potential. If you choose to work beneath your potential, that again is your decision. But I can't order him to pay you because you choose to do that. That's the order of the court. Your request is denied. Court's
All
adjourned.
rise. Parties may leave the courtroom.
Okay.
Well, how did that train get off track?
I don't
You were
know.
doing so well.
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
She just, well, probably the baby changed the way her outlook and the way she felt
I
about
think
things.
she just really went through a period of depression. I think she went through a period of, I want to be home with my child because I love her so, and she's so dear, and she's so, so precious to me. What a lot of women go through after they give birth, you feel that longing and need to stay home with your child, and that's what you want to do, and that becomes the most important thing to you, the nurturing, and you forget about your career.
I want the judge to know how unsupportive my wife is after 14 years of marriage.
I'm here to get some peace of mind and some resolution.
And you're saying that she came down to your business and created a scene just because she found out that you had a woman working there?
The girl was very good with
And
the
was she
papers.
good with anything else?
Huh?
You. Did I see a big old grin go on your face?
Now, Daryl McGriff says his wife Sharice caused him to lose his successful business, and he wants her to pay so he can get back on his feet in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Daryl McGriff versus Sharice McGriff. After 14 years of marriage and 4 children. 14 years and you now are splitting up? And you want her to give you $650 so you can start your car wash business again, is that right?
Yeah, money she stole from me, I feel.
What happened after 14 years?
She's never supported me in anything that I've ever done. She's always nagged me, complained about things that I do, where I'm going, when I'm coming in, and I just feel that it's never been
Now, supporting you in things that you do and nagging about where you're going and where you're coming from, those are 2 separate issues.
I just feel that anything that she's ever tried to do, I've always been there for.
Okay,
I've
what
always
didn't she support you in?
For instance, my car wash business. Once she found out I had a woman working for me, she came down very, very upset, threw my clothes all over the place, told me to get out the house.
No, I didn't.
Let go.
You didn't throw
finish.
my clothes all over.
I didn't throw it for that reason. It was for
Well, let
something
him
else.
finish. This is
Okay.
what
She threw my clothes all over the place. She told me
She
not
brought
to
your
come
clothes
back.
to the car wash
in
and threw 'em
plastic
in there?
bags, 4 big plastic bags.
And she threw him inside the business?
Threw them inside this is a public place. This is where I do my business at. People come here.
Yeah, I know the car wash is. I've been there a few times.
Well, you haven't. I understand.
Yeah, I've owned a few in my life.
But I mean, it's never anything to keep her happy. She's always has something
And you're
to
saying
say.
that she came down to your business and created a scene, sabotaging,
big
throwing
scene.
things over it, embarrassing you, just because she found out that you had a woman working there?
Exactly.
How did she?
thought
Why did
that-
she find out? I mean, why
Well,
wouldn't
she knew
know?
the woman was working there. She's always been against that from day one. She didn't want the woman there. She thought other things were going on with the woman. The
And
girl,
what made her think that? Just
probably
this
because of the
vivid
late hours,
imagination?
the late hours that we worked.
2 late hours.
Late hours that
Late
you worked?
hours.
To be
I was
washing
just starting. See, this is a casino that I have my car wash at. So the casino's open 24 hours a day.
Ooh, I've been there a few times, know about that too.
And people want their cars washed in a certain amount of time. So sometimes we get stacked up and we're there late. We open at 8 o'clock in the morning. We don't stop until 7. And so
PM?
p.m.
All right.
So sometimes I wouldn't get in till after 11, 12 o'clock at night.
So
but
what you doing between 7 and 11?
Cleaning cars.
Wait a minute, you just said you stop at 7.
Sometimes.
So some days you worked until 11.
Some days I worked until 1 o'clock in the morning. But I was trying to make enough so we wouldn't have to work hard all our lives. Sharice has basically supported us
And I'm
through...
supporting you through the car wash, too.
She supported you basically the last 14 years?
No, not the last 14 years.
basically.
Maybe I say the last 5 since we moved to Vegas.
So
I
how
had
many
a job.
business ventures have you had?
Only this one. I
Right.
worked before and I got hurt at work. And so I wasn't able to work. And then once I was able to get back, I opened up the car wash.
Okay.
From day one, she was against it. She
She wanted you to go back to a regular 8 to 5 job.
Right.
Is that
That's
right,
what I
Mrs.
think.
McGriff?
That's right. You have 4
Why?
kids. You have 4 kids. You've
We
got
didn't
a
have
house.
4 kids at the time. We only had 2.
When he started his business, he started it right after I had 2 twin babies, and we already had 2 existing kids. So you can't start a business.
So that's 4, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean.
Okay, so he started a business after you had 4 children.
4 children. No money in the bank. We just bought a brand new house. We had a van. You know, how can you start a business and no money?
It was a
And
new
I'm the only,
van,
and I'm
and
the
we
only
had
person
enough
that's
money to get
working.
the van.
I'm the only person that's working.
So how old were your children when you went back to work?
My daughters were still little.
I was
just had
receiving
twins.
disability, so we did have money coming in on my
And
behalf.
how much was that?
$980 every 2 weeks.
All right.
Oh, you
so
got it
you had that coming in.
You got that confused. No, you wasn't.
$890, excuse
no,
me.
once
$890 every
you
2
once you
weeks.
started the business, you didn't have any disability anymore.
So they cut off the disability.
Yeah, once I started
Right,
the business,
because-
but they gave me a lump sum check. I got a
And that's when you
check on
started this
January
business.
3rd
Hold on
for
a second.
$13,000.
You got a lump sum settlement
Lump
of
sum check
$13,000.
for $13,000. That wasn't the end of the settlement, but what I did is I cashed the check and I brought the money home to her.
So when you got the lump sum settlement check,
Right.
is that when you opened your car wash business?
A little while after.
And you opened your car wash business with some of those proceeds?
Some of those money.
So you got a little bit of that money to open the car wash, right?
A little bit.
How much did it take to open your car wash?
I say about, after
Startup
everything, maybe $5,000.
So you didn't think that he should start this business. You thought he should go get a job.
No, it just was not the proper time. Not with
According to you.
According to my
Everything is according to her.
my
Everything
financial
is according to
household.
her.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Our
according to
conversations,
Hold on a
when we
second,
have
Mr.
sex,
McGriff.
Everything is according
Everything
to
is
her.
according to her.
Everything. When she wants to talk.
So if he says it's okay, and I show you, it takes $5,000 to open up the business. He has it. And casinos in Las Vegas
Exactly.
with cars rolling through 24
Exactly.
hours a day.
High-dollar cars. People-
And dirt and all the dirt and dust in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't
it
think
would
that
be.
he could make
It would,
more?
but you know what?
Okay.
When you first start off a business, you don't make money just like that. It takes almost a year
In
for you
some
to
businesses-
get.
No,
In this case, we didn't make money at the beginning. Again, I was the only provider in the household.
So he wasn't getting a profit at all?
And on top of that, after starting making money, we started gambling a little bit of money. We still didn't bring. So he's been in a business for about a year or plus, about a year and a half, and I ain't seen no money. I
You haven't
ain't
seen
seen
any profit?
no profit. Everything is gone. What we got?
about all your jewelry?
What we got together?
Jewelry.
Jewelry.
I
wear
mean,
silver,
just
so
little things
yeah,
that I
this
buy.
don't
The
make
reason why she was silver, because she's either lost or done something with all the other stuff I gave her. After our 13th anniversary, I believe I got her a platinum wedding ring set.
Where's
Ask
that?
her-
I lost one piece of it, but he bought this before he started his
lost it.
business. This is when he was
lost it.
working a real job.
So
No,
you're
no,
so
no,
here's
I was
what
on
I hear is
disability
that
when I got that.
you have a dream. I've gotten sick on one job and became disabled.
Right.
Got a settlement. You
Exactly.
said rather than go back to an 8 to 5, I want to start my own business
I
and
didn't
work for
wanna work for
myself.
nobody
I want
else.
to work for myself.
Right.
I want to bring money in. Car wash, $5,000. Now what I envision, now maybe my little math is wrong. Most car washes $10 minimum.
No, the basic car wash started off at 15
Oh!
and worked its way up all the way to 150.
That's fine.
$15 a car?
That's fine. At another time when we could have gotten.
Wait a minute, $15 a car.
Those were for the employees.
Stop.
It was
$15
$20
a car
for outside
times how
people.
many cars a day could you think he could wash?
I don't know, probably
On average, about
10 to
You don't
20.
know.
Because she was never involved. Never involved.
I'm trying to help you out, Mr. McGriff.
When divorce court continues.
Look, anytime I can go to a fast food restaurant and they know me by name, something wrong.
I don't know what fast food you're
Yeah, something's wrong.
Something wrong.
That means you go there a lot.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Daryl McGriff, who says his wife wasn't supportive during their marriage.
You don't know how many cars a day he could wash.
Well, to start off, no. It started very slow. So
that's
naturally,
what
it's very
I'm
slow.
saying to you. If you didn't have an idea how many cars he could wash, then you didn't have an idea how much money he was going
But
to make and what the potential
you
profit
can't
is.
take a chance on that when you got a house note to pay. You can't take a chance on that when
You
you got a
was
car
willing
note
to take a
pay.
chance on that.
You
It was
can't take a chance on that
$650. We had
when you got child care to pay for. You can't take a chance on that. Our total incomes of our household bills was over like $3,000 plus. I don't make $3,000 plus a month.
I disagree with you, Mr.
We didn't
McGriff.
get put
Hold
out
on a
the
second.
house.
And here's the problem. And here's what I see.
Right.
You thought that you couldn't take a chance on it. Your husband said, I have the faith to believe that I can do it. And therefore, that's what I want to do. I did. 4 children.
Right.
4 children. Left the city attorney's office, guaranteed pay, guaranteed paycheck every 2 weeks. Every other Wednesday, got me a paycheck, guaranteed. 4 kids. open up my own business. $5,000, same as him.
That's
$5,000.
But you're
Hold
two
on.
different people.
Didn't have a clue where the rest of it was going to come from. And mine wasn't even car wash.
Yeah.
It was even worse. It was a law business. I had to wait for people to come and see me about their legal problem and beg them to pay me after I do all the work.
Right.
This man would get paid before he washes the car.
But in the same token, he's turning around and going and spending that money in the casinos. We did not
So
get any
that was
money.
the problem. He wasn't spending the money properly after he
He
made
wasn't
it.
spending the money properly before he even got the business. So no, you don't take a chance if you like to gamble. You don't take a chance and work in a casino where you can say, oh, I got some money in my pocket. Let me go over there and put it in the
All right.
machine.
I was
So
gambling.
that's a different issue.
Ask her why
He
I
didn't
was
need a
gambling.
car wash at a casino where he had a weakness where the money would go right back to the
It
casino.
wasn't a weakness. I gambled because I wanted to. I didn't
What
want to
you
go
call a
home.
strength?
I didn't want to go home. It wasn't. I mean, if it wasn't for my kids, we wouldn't have been married.
But
this
when you
long.
gambled, did you lose money for the household?
Not
did you
all
lose
the time.
money?
Not all the time.
Oh, you naturally you win, but you know you
I
lose.
guarantee you had a greater percentage of losses than you had wins.
You're probably right.
Now, what else is a problem
But
here?
you know what? A lot of Daryl started this without really us deciding and mutually agreeing on it.
Well, that's
And
not
once
coming
it
to talk to me.
started,
You're gonna shoot down
once it
everything I do
started,
anyway.
I'm okay. Daryl, I'll make a spreadsheet for you. You just bring your receipts home. I'll calculate them up for you.
So you have
run a
computer
report.
skills.
Yeah, I'm doing all
I
this
bought
for
the
him.
computer because she had a
I'm
computer
doing all this.
skill. She
Did
never
he bring the
showed me how
receipts?
to
So now
use
you're
this
working
Bring the
stuff.
together.
receipts home? Did he bring the receipts home?
I brought you got
no,
the receipts.
He
I
hired
brought you big
somebody to
steps.
come in and do this for him.
So you didn't like the fact that he hired this
Why
woman to
I
come
hired
in to
that
be a
person? She
bookkeeper for him
complained
instead of
all
you.
about her being tired. She got to work, take
Never-
care of the kids, cook. Look, anytime I can go to a fast food restaurant and they know me by name, something wrong.
I don't know what fast food you're
Yeah,
about.
something's wrong.
Something wrong.
That means you go there a
I
lot.
hurt my back. I hurt my back at work. It would have been easier for me to pay a man with no hands to rub my back than to get her to do
That's
it.
right. You definitely
Why not,
right.
Mrs. McGriff?
Because he was not taking care of responsibility. We have a family. You have, if you're not going to contribute financially, I'm working 40 hours a week. You come home and help with these
She
kids.
did. She
So
did.
what would he do?
I got
But
two
no.
kids that need homework help. I got 2 babies that need diapers changes. I got to cook dinner and clean up and work
My-
and
He's
take
not
care of
working
himself.
in-
And you're working until 11 o'clock at night. Where's the money? They didn't pay
turned
me.
the money
They did it on the credit card.
I
or
turned the
they
money
wrote
in.
the check.
I
never seen
accepted
it.
all major credit cards. So a lot of folks slide their credit cards.
But I wasn't
I had
seeing
a credit card machine. So they slide their credit cards.
But at
That
some
money
point you
goes
get paid from the credit card company.
when it goes to my bank.
Yeah, but I was
When
not
it went
seeing
to
it.
But
my bank.
she's saying that she didn't ever see that.
This money was not coming
She
in.
didn't ever see it.
This money
That's
was
She
what she said.
shopped with it.
The divorce court continues.
The girl was very good with
And
the
was she good with
papers.
anything else?
Huh?
You.
Did I see a big old grin go on your face?
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Sharice McGriff, who suspected her husband Daryl had an affair with a co-worker during their marriage.
So the two of you had a disagreement. You thinking, well, now he's opened the business. I'll help him do the paperwork because I have computer
Right.
skills. But instead, you went out and hired Sally, whatever her name is.
Daryl, I did not tell you
The
that I had a.
spreadsheet she made for me.
But why did you hire somebody if your wife had those kind of skills?
Well, at first, the girl that I hired she's a mechanic also. But she cleans
you didn't
cars.
say you had a car repair business. You said you had a
but
car
some
wash.
some people, you know how they ask for certain things, and you try
No,
to.
I don't know.
Well, you said you've been to a lot of car washes.
Car
You've seen the
wash,
places
not
that say
car
lube and
repair.
oil. They give you gas.
You didn't
so
say lube, oil, gas. You said car
right.
wash.
But she-
Nobody's oil except Daryl's, so no.
She wasn't oiling anybody's body but his. Huh?
Exactly.
The only car she was oiling was yours.
There's no lube and there's none of that stuff there. They
No,
washing
we
cars.
didn't do any of that stuff. I'm just saying these are the reasons why I hired her.
And then
She
when you
was good
started-
with cars.
Because she's a mechanic?
She was good with automobiles, and
She
she
could wash
learned
cars
fast.
well.
She could wash a car well.
What's knowing about automobiles
Hold
got to do
on.
with the car? Washing
Wait a
cars.
minute. Anyway, the girl was very good with
And
the
was
papers.
she good with anything else?
Huh?
You.
Did I see a big old
Look.
grin go on your face?
What happened was this right here.
Did I see a big grin?
When I left, when she asked me, when she put me out, I was gone for 7 days. And in them 7 days,
You got together with the bookkeeper.
something happened.
You and the bookkeeper. You and the bookkeeper.
But it wasn't nothing happening at home.
Okay, what else was going on in this marriage? You said everything had to be her way.
She don't trust me. She doesn't want to talk about things unless it's when she wants to talk about it. If we having sex, it's the way she wants to have sex, or when she wants to have sex. If she cooks,
If
it's
you got
when
it.
she wants to cook, huh?
If you got it. Very rarely did you get it.
So in other words, you
Exactly.
just dictated and controlled everything.
Exactly. Well, I didn't try to dictate it. I'm just saying, if you're not giving to me, I'm not giving to you.
That's not what life is.
I'm working 40 hours a week. I'm taking care of 4 kids. I'm doing it all. And you want to stay out and hang out with your bookkeeper all night and your friends and all
wasn't
that?
only with- I mean,
He didn't do that in 14 years. He
That
only
didn't
did that for a
happen
few
all
months.
the time. Yeah, I got married in
No, he
12th
did.
grade of high
He did,
school.
he did,
I was
he
still
did.
in school when we got married. We got married on a Friday. I went back to school Monday morning.
And
I
where'd your
used to
wife go?
walk-
Back to work?
She was at work. Well,
So you were the
no,
oldest?
excuse me. She was pregnant.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I was-
she wasn't working. But now, I would leave from school, not going to school, walk to Denny's, and then walk to her house with my lunch money to make sure she was all right. I've always...
So you all have made it through high school to now, but when you start a business, it becomes a problem.
No, we've been off and on for
We've
14
been
years.
separated
We've
in
been
and
off
again.
and
So is this another one of those off and ons and you wasting my time?
We
Or
got
is this a
separated
finality?
the first time because when I came home from the field, there was a man in my house.
Okay,
This is
from the field? What
I was
field?
in the military.
Oh.
I came home
Oh,
from
maybe
the
you was
field.
picking some peas or
and I
something.
walked up the I walked up the stairs and I put my key in the door. Now, when you put your key in the door turned, but wasn't nothing happening. So I knocked on the door and she said, "Who is it?" And what you mean, who is it? There's nobody else who know we here.
Nobody
So-
else who has a key anyway, is there?
Exactly. So I come upstairs, I get in the house, she fully dressed. She got the move for lights on, the music playing, the TV on, and she can't, "Hey, how you doing?" "No, how you doing?" I wanted to know what was going on. And she said, "Well, I have company."
Company?
I said, "Well, go ahead and tell her to come on out. Because this is
Her.
what I'm thinking."
Right.
The door opened, some
Here come a
dude
man.
hiding behind my door,
10
but
years
wait,
ago. 10
in
years.
my kid's room.
The divorce court continues.
I still have existing bills from the house. That's in my
after
name.
the fact.
No.
Okay. Heard enough.
Divorce court continues in the case of Daryl McGriff, who says he blames his wife for losing his business.
So you think that she should give you back the how did the 650 figure, where did it come from?
I was at work,
Yeah.
and I had to leave because I had to pay my lease. And I ran to her job and I said, "Listen, I don't have time to go and get a check. Can you write me a check? I'll give you $400 now, and I'll give you the other $250 the next day." She wrote me the check. I gave her the money. I asked her every day for a solid week, "Have they pulled the money out the account?" "I don't know." "Have they pulled that money out the account?" "I don't know." I'm at work.
'Cause you never gave me the whole $650.
And then what happened?
The director of guest services walks down and hands me a return check paper. And I'm sitting here just
Okay,
shocked.
so she wrote you a check, you gave her the money, the check bounced, and they kicked you out of the place.
Well, they first closed me down for me to get the money back.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. They
All
told
right.
me no more.
And so now your business is closed and you think that it's all her fault and she should give it back to you. And you say no.
No, because he's opened his business before. So right after that, he opened his business. He gave him the $650 back. But that's
Ask him how I get
but
the money. I sold my refrigerator. I sold the washer
Okay.
and dryer. The stuff she did leave me.
And what
I
did you
had
do
to
with the
sell
money
it.
that he gave you?
I paid bills for the household. I paid gas
Ask her
bills,
why she
electric
spent it.
bills.
You know what? I'm not going to ask her why
She said she was mad.
Mr.
No.
McGriff, if you're running a business, but at the same time you're running a household, your household takes priority.
Exactly.
If her house and the gas and the lights and the water is about to be cut off, you got to pay that before you
She
pay
wasn't
the
in the
rent.
house then.
I
Her
was,
gas,
I was.
lights, and apartment in the
That
new
check,
place?
no, that paid for it. I still have existing bills from the house. That's in my
after
name.
the fact.
No.
Okay. I've heard enough. The two of you, unfortunately, just were not on the same page at the same time. You were not supportive of each other, and was obviously too much water under the bridge when you tried to start this business, and too much distrust had gone on already, that she was not going to be supportive of your efforts. And as she says, when you start a business, you got to look into all of those things. Where is it? The locale?
You're right.
Is it a good locale?
You're right.
And if you know that you have a tendency to gamble, you don't need to be in a casino. You got to consider all of that.
That's true.
And if you're starting a new business and your wife can handle the bookkeeping and the paperwork, why pay an employee?
said she can
That's
handle
a
it
salary
now.
you don't need to pay.
Now she can handle it, but then she couldn't handle
All
it.
right, I have to deny your request. It appears to me that the business was lost not because of her fault, because if the money was used for household expenses, it was a good use of the money.
But if she would have told me she was going to use that
You know
money
what?
for them, I
They
would have
haven't
been able to
allowed
make
me
up.
to legislate, and they haven't allowed me to give people money back and to make orders in marriages because people don't tell each other what's going on.
Right.
If that was the case, everybody would get back what they asked for. One of the main problems that cause a divorce is lack of communication.
True.
I can't give you what you asked for because we didn't communicate.
But she
That's not a
stopped
theory.
my whole way of living. How was I supposed to survive if I
McGriff,
didn't have the business?
Mr. McGriff, you find another job.
Exactly.
You do something else.
After I've 2 years of being in this business,
I just-
how could I just start something else?
Request denied.
All rise. Parties may leave the courtroom.
Start another one. Plenty of cars need washing. You can start out there with mine.
Take all that equipment he's still got. And
Take all that
Start-
equipment and
start
start
slow.
another one. He can start out there with mine.
Until he gets $650.
Maybe we'll bring him some space at divorce court and let him wash all of our cars. Maybe we can do that. I don't know.
Get him in line.
I want Gregory to pay for my school tuition so I can take back control of my life.
I don't expect to pay her tuition because she left me for another man and now is pregnant with his baby. He can pay it.
I gave up everything for Greg. I gave up my schooling, my children, my self-esteem because he thought it was okay to hit me.
What's this about domestic violence, Mr. Turner?
I have put my hands on her. I've done things that I'm very ashamed
He
of.
did make me
There was
feel
never a
guilty
time
like it
that
was
she
my
never kicked
fault.
him out.
Mr. Turner, I can see the level of control that you have and how easily entreated you are in terms of getting upset.
Oh, I'm not.
You're not?
Now Cynthia Turner says she wants to move on with her life and wants Gregory Turner to pay her tuition so that she can finish college. In this session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is a matter of Cynthia Turner versus Gregory Turner. I'm advised after 4 years of marriage, 3 children, that you want a divorce. And Mrs. Turner, you want your husband to pay your college tuition for the next 3 years, which amounts to about $3,732, right?
Correct.
Okay, so tell me what ended a marriage of 4 years.
I gave up everything for Greg. I gave up my schooling, my children, my self-esteem because he thought it was okay to hit me. He thought it was okay to touch me because we would get into arguments. And I'm asking him for him to pay my school tuition so I can take back control of my life. I voluntarily gave my children over to my parents right now.
Why did you do
currently,
that?
Because I didn't want them to grow up in the environment thinking it was okay for a man, for my daughter to think it was okay for a man to hit her, or for my sons to grow up thinking it was okay to hit a woman.
Your Honor.
So you gave your children over to your mother because of the domestic violence that was in
Correct.
your household?
Correct.
So did you leave the household
Yes.
or did you stay there?
No, I've left. We separated numerous times. And when we separated, I did go to live with my parents. But we went
But
through...
you'd always go back.
Yes.
Your Honor.
And so you finally gave the kids over to your parents?
Right.
And where did you go when you gave the kids over to your parents?
I was with my parents most of the time, and then when I would come back with Gregory, we were going through marriage counseling. He was going through anger management counseling. And I wanted to make sure before I brought my children back into the household that the environment was correct for them, that they didn't have to grow up seeing that the domestic violence
Well, I'm
was
glad you were
going on.
concerned about their safety and concerned about them, but when you got them out of that mess, you should have gotten yourself out of that mess. You were more, but at least you were concerned about them. What's this about domestic violence, Mr. Turner?
Your
Did you
Honor-
know that's a crime?
Yes, I do. And, Your Honor, I have dealt with the penalties of that crime.
you haven't.
And, Your Honor,
You still
I have
do it.
also been very remorseful and ashamed
No,
of
you're not.
the things
Okay,
that I
Mrs.
have.
Turner, let him, maybe he is.
Okay.
How do you know he's not ashamed?
He continuously does it.
Every time I look at
Oh.
myself in the mirror and I have to deal with this situation that was brought on by me not accepting responsibility of my own actions, because she could have done whatever she wanted or even worse. But it
So
was
what
my
did you
decision.
do? What did you do? What situation caused that? What
a
was
lot of
the-
situations caused it. One situation in particular
Not
was,
that any of it justifies it, but I just want to know.
No, in one situation in particular, we had gone into an argument over where I was because I was late getting home from work, and she didn't want to let me go. She didn't want to let it be. I asked her, please be quiet. You know, I don't want to argue with you no more. And so it kept on going, and I made the mistake of not getting myself out of that situation because she could have kept on talking as much trash as she wanted to.
No, that's not
but
true.
I allowed her to
What-
get to me.
And what
There's
did you
been
do?
numerous times that I was
I've put my
quiet.
hands on her. I've done things that I'm very ashamed
So
of.
you
that I
did
was-
hit her.
And yes.
Ashamed,
And
then why
you did it
continue?
over and over and over repeatedly?
No, not repeatedly, on occasions. It
Well,
wasn't
when I
an
say
everyday
It was an
thing.
occasion.
Okay.
It wasn't an everyday thing because
No,
the
that's
things
not
that have
And thank
transpired
goodness
through-
it wasn't an everyday thing, Mr. Turner, and that doesn't make it any better because it was every other month or once a year or once every 2 years.
No matter what it was wrong.
All
And
right,
I am
then.
very ashamed of that because that is a situation that I'm going to have to explain to my children.
So you got
That-
it. So you hit her, then get remorseful, and then you have another argument, and you repeat the cycle, right?
No,
What are you doing now to try to do the right thing?
I'm trying to get my life back on track so that I could take care of my children.
Okay, that doesn't tell me anything. What are you doing?
What am I doing?
That was my question.
And take
Working
care
and
of your
going back to
children.
school. Now,
Then why
this
don't
woman
you
right
give
here
doing
is
about
now
your
to your
pregnant.
parents to take care
With
of
the
them?
man
What are you
that she
doing
cheated
about?
on me with.
Hold
I
on a
didn't
second.
cheat on
What are
him
you
with
doing
you.
about
That's
your
not true.
temper so that when you're in another situation where you're talking to someone and they talk too much as far as you're concerned and they run off at the mouth and you strike? What are you doing to avoid that again?
To avoid that, I am taking responsibility for my own actions. No matter what she did, she could have yelled at me 20 more times.
That's not true.
There's
been
many times that we have been in arguments that she has gone off on me, you know? And I tried
That's not
I
true.
tried my
There's
best
times
to
that I
hold
was quiet and
my
he
own
still would
emotions
hit
and try
me.
to do things to make sure it's right. But she wouldn't allow me to walk out the door.
What would she do to prevent you from walking out
She
the door?
would lock the door, hop in front of the door. I go around to the room. I go try to hop out the window. I threw my bag out the window. She get in front of the window. Keep on accusing me. You're not a man. You can't handle this. You can't deal with this. You're not a man. And instigating the whole time. Not letting me go. Now,
What about
that
that,
was
Ms.
what she
Turner?
did, but
That's not true.
That's
And
not what.
there's
That's
been
not.
numerous
That doesn't
times-
stop me
Hold
from
on a
doing
second.
what I did.
What about that?
There's been numerous times where I didn't even say anything because he did make me
There was
feel
never a
guilty,
time
like
that
it was
she's
my
never kept her
fault.
mouth
Be quiet, Mr. Turner. But
That
there
it was
were
my
times.
fault that
Hold on a second.
he
But there
co-
were times you did.
I wouldn't even say anything
No, there's
at
a-
all.
But were
Every
there
time she
times when
has said
Mr.
something,
Turner?
she's got a busy mouth.
Mr. Turner. Now, usually when people walk in court, they put their best foot forward.
Exactly,
best
ma'am.
foot
Your
forward.
Honor, I apologize. but she's
No,
been
all
able
you're
to-
doing is showing me that if you're in court and you're putting your best foot forward and you want to look your best in front of the judge and you want me to believe that you're an honorable person and that you're doing better and that you're not striking your wife anymore, that you've learned your lesson, then you would control yourself. But because I can see the level of control that you have and how easily entreated you are in terms of getting upset,
Oh, I'm not.
you're
Your Honor-
not?
Your Honor. Your Honor, what I have to say is that she's been able to talk over me this whole time that I've had to say something to you. When she was talking to you, I did not
not
say
even had a
anything. I
chance
tried
to
to
speak.
interject.
Hold on a second. And that's my
not
point.
true either.
Exactly.
I see how easily you get upset when people talk over you.
It's not people, just her.
That's what I observed.
Exactly.
And when people talk and don't let you say what you have to say, I can imagine what would happen behind closed doors at your house when no one is looking and observing you.
Your Honor, what I've always tried to do is avoid her. There have been times that she can even say that I haven't come home. I've been late coming
Yeah,
home.
he
I go to
wouldn't come
play
home and he
video
wouldn't
games.
call to let me know
Are you
where
in
he
any
was at.
anger management classes
Yes,
now?
took it
I've
twice.
done.
Hold on a second,
36.
Mrs. Turner. I'm going to get it to you.
Sorry.
There's been many times that I have tried to avoid the situation.
Are you in
like I
any
said.
anger management classes?
I've completed 72 classes over the course of 3 years.
72 classes or 72 hours?
72 classes, which were 2 hours each.
When divorce court continues.
He would end up throwing things and objects in the house. He would take the phone from me so I couldn't call anybody.
So now have you let go?
Yes, I've let go.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. divorce court continues in the case of Cynthia Turner as she testifies that she wants out of the marriage because Gregory is physically abusive.
I understand domestic violence. I understand what brings it on. I've been in it. I've defended it. I've prosecuted it. And I understand. And I also know that usually when there's a strike, there is something that precedes the strike 9 times out of 10. Most of the time, the men will strike out and hit back with their fists. We strike out with our mouths. And we get real mouthy and get all up in their face sometimes.
Right.
You can't stand here and tell me that you didn't do that sometimes.
No, I can't.
Out of your anger, right?
Right.
Okay, now what have you learned to do about that?
We went through marriage counseling, and I've learned to control. At the end of it, I didn't say anything. He would end up throwing things and objects in the house, and I would just be like, why would you do that? What are you doing, you know? There was times that he wouldn't let me leave the house. He would restrain me. He would take the phone from me so I couldn't call anybody.
And
to
your
come
cycle
help
that
me.
you went through is also of going back and forth in it.
Correct.
You didn't want to let go. So when he did want to leave, I'm sure there were times you didn't let him leave because you couldn't let go, really. Because that's also part of the domestic violence cycle,
Right.
right? So now have you let go?
Yes, I've let go.
And what did you say about he caused you to, he destroyed your self-esteem? How do you do that?
He would make me feel as though it was my fault for every time he hit me.
Mm-hmm.
He would
I apologize to her day and night.
You know what? That's the cycle of a
Yeah.
perpetrator
But-
and a batterer.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is that
And are you
with
in
her-
some classes?
she's never taken any
You've
classes.
never taken any classes?
marriage counseling, yes, and I've
You've
gone
never
to.
taken any
No,
self-help
one-on-one.
courses for
No.
yourself?
Oh yes, I've gone to counseling
For
myself.
you to
For
learn
me.
how to love you?
Yes.
You're destroying you. You know that? You're 23 years old.
Pregnant with
You have 3 children, and you're pregnant again?
with the guy she
With
cheated
somebody
on
else?
me with.
Not your husband? And how long have you been separated from your husband?
We've been separated for almost 8 months.
6
8
months.
months.
So now who made you have this child?
Nobody made me have
And
this
whose
child.
fault is it now that you're not in school?
It's my responsibility
And you,
for
yeah,
this child, and
Now, why do you keep having babies, Mrs. Turner, and you know that you want to go to school and you want to do something else with your life? Why are you doing that, having babies, as opposed to doing any of that? Have you asked yourself that question?
no.
Your Honor.
No, hold on a second. Ask yourself that question. And without knowing all of your circumstances, if I had to take the best educated guess with the limited knowledge that I have, it's because you don't believe that you can do anything else but have babies. That's your contribution to society. That's all you're good for as a woman. And I'm here to tell you, Mrs. Turner, that God didn't give you just your vagina and just your birth canal.
Amen.
That he empowered you with a lot of other things that you can do.
Right.
You have a brain.
Yes, I do.
That's first of all. You think well. Sometimes you don't think and use good judgment, but you can think. You can use your hands. Nothing wrong with them, right?
Right.
Nothing wrong with your feet, right?
Right.
Nothing wrong with your mouth, right?
Right.
You see well. You got a lot of resources other than your body. Other parts of your body can be used
Right.
to do something for yourself.
Right.
You're not thinking highly of yourself. You're just getting involved in relationships because you want somebody to like you. Right? You need somebody around.
No.
That's where you find the security from when you're in the bed or when you're making love. Right? That's when you feel better.
She didn't leave me until she
No.
found
What'd you
this
say?
guy.
That's not true, and I didn't leave you
She
for
didn't
him.
leave
Why?
Until she
Why?
found this
Wait a
He
minute.
kicked
If
me
you're
out.
upset with Mr. Turner,
He
and you
kicked
say
me
he
out of
quit,
the
wait a
house.
minute. But listen to me. If you're upset with Mr. Turner, his fault that I didn't finish school. His fault that I have these kids because we kept having children. His fault because of my low self-esteem. He's gone. He's been gone for 8 months. I want to go to school.
Right.
I want my kids. So now what is Mrs. Turner doing to reach that goal? Instead of doing
First
that,
step
you
was
reach back to
getting
somebody
away
else and have
from-
another kid. No, but you still set yourself back again.
The divorce court continues.
Who's taking care of these kids? Your mother. She didn't have any of those babies and didn't enjoy any of the fun.
Right.
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by... If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Cynthia Turner as she testifies that she's now pregnant with another man's child.
When is this baby due?
January 6th.
So who's going to take care of this one?
I am.
And your mother still has your other 3.
Yes, but before I have this child, I am hoping to have my other 3 with me.
And you're living
also.
with whom?
With my boyfriend.
And you want Mr. Turner to pay for you to go to school? Because you all had an agreement when you married that he would finish first and then you would go. Is that right?
And he just quit going to school. That was just recent that he quit, like a year, probably a year.
So he
and a half
didn't
ago.
fulfill his contractual obligation to finish school. You didn't fulfill yours. But where is the money? Where's the money?
She also.
What you doing? Where's the money for you to pay this tuition?
I don't have any
He
money.
quit his good
We had
job that
a
he
income
had.
tax return coming in, and
How much money are
That
you
has
making?
nothing to do with
I'm
it.
making
Tell her
$7.25
what
an
you-
hour.
Now what
What had happened is that when we were together, we were married.
He was an
and
electrician, and he just quit one day.
We jointly
electrician?
filed.
He was an electrician, and he
making
just quit.
$14.23 an hour.
So why aren't you an electrician now?
Because
And tell it to me quickly.
I quit. I didn't. When I caught her with her boyfriend
No,
the
that's
first
not true.
time, I didn't get out of bed for
Where
2
did you
weeks.
catch him?
True.
I went over to talk to
That's
her
not true.
about, our differences and
kicked
try
me
to
out of
work
the house,
everything out.
changed the
And she was
locks,
over at her friend's house, and I
and
was going to go
told
over
me
there to
to-
talk to her, and I went in there up to the apartment, and I saw her go in with him, and, I didn't think nothing. She had been talking to him for a couple months at this point. And so I go up and knock on the door, and the blinds are right there, and they're on the couch making out.
That's not
So I
true.
knock on the door, and she's like, "Who is it?" I'm like, "It's Greg." And
That's
I
not
hear him
true.
scurrying and everything.
That's not
and then
true
she
either.
opens up the door. She's like, "What do you want?" I was
So
like,
so now you quit your job because she's having sex with another man.
No, I was
It's not her
having
fault that I
sex
quit
with
my
him.
job because
You
I
better
allowed.
know it. That's the lamest excuse in the
No,
book.
it's not her fault that I quit my job. I let that situation affect me so much that I looked at myself. I was like, "What's wrong with me?"
You know what?
Your
You're doing a
Honor.
lot of looking, and I wish I had a mirror so you could look again.
Your
But
Honor,
stop, Mrs. Turner. But
I
you're-
was not having
Mrs.
sex with
Turner.
him.
Okay, you weren't having sex. You were
But
with
now
another
she's-
man, and that was just facetious. And you know what? It really doesn't matter to me. My point is, I don't care what you were doing. I don't care if you were laying out in the middle of the street having sex with the man and everybody could see you and was filming it.
right,
It's not an excuse for him to quit his job.
exactly.
And I never said.
And
it
I don't
was.
care what was happening with him and you. It wasn't an excuse for you to go to another man and to have sex and get pregnant. Obviously, you had sex with him at some point.
Yes.
You're pregnant.
Right.
Your
Okay?
Honor.
Stop. Instead of you talking about school, you've taken up with another man and you want him to pay for you to go to school because that was the agreement you had when he married you. Why aren't you asking me for child support? Who's taking care of these kids? Your mother. She didn't have any of those babies and didn't enjoy any of the fun.
Right. That's right.
Not a bit.
I give my mother money. I buy my children clothes.
Well,
and
that's where
everything.
I'm going to focus. I want your mother to get some money to take care of those
He
children.
hasn't done anything.
Well,
Yes,
that's
I
what
have.
I'm giving
at
up.
all.
Your Honor.
Stop. I don't want to hear another word from both of you.
The divorce court continues.
You got a vasectomy?
Yes, and she's pregnant, and I can't have any children.
Good. You don't need any more.
Divorce court continues in the case of Gregory Turner as he testifies that he can't have any more children.
You got a vasectomy?
Yes, and she's pregnant, and I can't have any children.
You good. You don't need any more.
I don't need any more, but the fact that we got into this big thing about who's going to do
And
the
he
thing
was
of birth
cheating
control.
when we
She
were
kept on
together.
pressuring me. No, you do it because it's too
No.
hard on me. It's too hard on me.
No, that's
and so
not true
I was like,
either.
you know
He
what, baby, I'm
chose
going to be
to
with
have
you
it.
for the rest of my life.
He
I'm going to be with you the rest of my
Mrs.
life.
Turner, you know
I got
what?
3 kids.
As I said before, you see how you keep talking and keep talking and keep talking when he's trying to say something? So you contribute to the
Yeah.
problems that you've had too.
I understand that.
Okay. Finish it, Mr. Turner.
But when we
So
were
when
together,
did you have this vasectomy?
Right when
After
she-
the separation?
No. I had the vasectomy when she gave birth to our last child.
You need to take a lesson.
Oh, I'm getting my tubes tied after this one.
Should have been done before.
I was going to do it.
yeah.
Should have been done beforehand.
You are slowing yourself down, and it's up to you to take control. And you need to get into some self-help classes, and I mean, get serious about it, Mrs. Turner. And stop being a sex object. You have much more to offer, much more. But you have to believe that. I can tell you that until I'm blue in the face. But you have to believe it. So I understand you already have an order pending for a request pending for child support?
Yes, I filed the papers for child support. And
Is there a
everything.
hearing date set yet?
Not yet. I don't know if he's received the papers because he wouldn't even give me the address to send them to him.
Give him an address to
All right, so if you, you need an address to serve him?
Well, no, I've served him. I sent to the address that I did have, but I don't know if he's received the papers yet.
All right, you got a
It's
copy
been
of them with
long
you
time.
today?
Yes. I
All
have
right,
it
he'll get
there.
served before he leaves here. You'll get served. So I'm going to deny your request for the tuition because hopefully, real soon, there'll be an order made for child support.
Right.
All right? That's the order of the court. I hope you go back to school, though. All right.
All rise. Parties may leave the courtroom. Well, that relationship's right out of the textbook. Isn't it?
But finally,
At least he, yeah. At least he
that's
did
a
something.
first. We got one
Yeah.
where
At least he
somebody
won't be having
said
any more babies.
it's easier for you. The procedure is less costly, is less painful. The recovery process is
Everything
shorter.
about it.
You have the vasectomy so we can exercise birth control. It took them 3 kids to figure it out, but at least they got there.
Yeah.
My husband ignored me during our marriage. All he did was play video games.
I was addicted to video games. I ignored my wife, and I just want her back. I can look at her and still find a beautiful person because I love her to death. I married her when she was big. I married her
matter.
when
You
whatever.
weren't there for me. I needed you. I was there for you
Then
for
drop
3.5 years, dragging you around. You used me.
Sheila Fetter says her husband Luke isn't ready to be a husband and father, so she is walking away, but wants him to pay child support. In today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Sheila Fetter versus Luke Fetter. I'm advised that you've been married for, 2 years, and you have 1 child?
Yes.
And Mrs. Fetter, you're asking for child support. Is that right? What's going on? What ended this marriage?
Well, everything was good in the beginning. I drove him around for 3.5 years. He didn't have a driver's license. As soon as he got his driver's license back, he was gone. Never home.
Is this 3.5 years before or after the marriage?
Before and during.
All right.
The reason for
So
that.
then he got a driver's license,
Right.
and he got in the wind.
Yeah, and he was gone. Never home.
The reason why, Your Honor.
Why?
Anything I had interest in, when we were dating, until she got pregnant with my
Wait a minute,
son,
when you were dating, anything you had an interest in, finish that sentence.
that she actually liked to do. I mean, we went
So
fishing.
when
We
you
went
were-
fishing before, and then we went here and we went there. But then
What's here and there?
we went to the mall together. We went to, sorry, but we went to the mall together. I mean, this is no, because you know it's that
When
first
you were
impression.
dating, you went fishing.
That's
you went
because
to the
you're trying to
mall.
make a good impression.
What about you, Miss Fetter?
I was home taking care of the house
So
and
once
the
you married him,
family.
you didn't want to go fishing anymore?
It ain't about that. It's about he don't want to do what I want to do, so why should I compromise and do something he wants to do? If
And
he's
you want to
there
go
for
to the
me-
mall?
Well, wherever. The mall, the store, laundromat, wherever we needed to go. He didn't want to do his part. He wanted me to do everything. Video
So you're
games were more
saying that
important.
The video games now, I felt more comfortable at my brother's house. Man, I didn't have to hear the word, no, I did not want to do this. No, I did not want to go fishing. And, I mean, Mick didn't ever give me a hard time about things. I mean,
Well,
he
you
just...
weren't married to Mick,
He
you're
was
married to
listening.
me.
He was listening to me. That's all it was. Well, he was there.
You know what?
He
This
was
is
there
absolute
more.
insanity. Women do go fishing. There are a lot of women who fish, and there are a lot of
But
men
see,
who
but-
go to the
but-
mall. Maybe you
But
happen
see,
not
but
to like
see,
that.
At the point when we were even, I think we were even married at the time. She actually went fishing. She didn't
I did
finish
it because
fish,
you wanted to do it.
but she stayed right there until she said, "This stinks. It smells too much. Whatever." So now I had to go by myself. Or I took my son, I think, twice.
So you
fishing.
drifted apart once you got married. The compromises that you made when you were
We were
going
better off
with
as
him,
friends than we
and
were
he
married.
said you did it because that's what he wanted. When you were going with him, it's like, whatever you want, I'll do it. Whatever you like. Oh, sure. And you pretended to enjoy it, and you could stand him then. But once you married him, you figure, now I don't no longer have to do what you want to do and you enjoy doing because I got you? Is that it?
Well, no, he didn't want to do what I wanted to do. So why should I do what he wants to do?
So both of you stopped compromising
Pretty much.
and stopped doing things that the other liked.
Yep.
But that's what relationships are all about.
This is true. And that's the part that I miss now. I mean, I just...
Oh, now you're ready to go to the mall.
I didn't say the mall. Maybe just hanging out. I mean, recently, we started going to the movies together. We started going to dinner. I mean, we can actually do this something until, like, something either
She
I
says,
say...
I'm just totally disgusted. You got a look on your face that says, you know what?
That's her everyday thing, though. But I mean, every time I say something, like if we're out to like dinner, we're having a great time. The next day or two, I can say one thing, and it's not the right thing.
He's got an attitude problem.
It's not the right thing. I will say something that brings up something, and she didn't like that. So now we're back to square one.
What became so disgusting about this man to you once you said I do?
He was gone. After he got his license, he was not around. If I asked him to help me with the child or help me clean because it was too much for me, I was nagging, complaining.
So your real complaint is that once the child was born, you were left to do all the drudge work in terms of the child while he went out and had the fun.
Right.
No. We both shared that. We both shared that stuff.
Did he share that?
Maybe in the beginning.
Okay,
Of the
but let's
marriage.
get past the beginning. What happened?
Well, then, to make up for him being gone, he brings a computer into the house.
Oh, now,
I advised against the computer. I told him,
But
no,
we didn't
it's
have-
going to cause problems.
A computer is going to cause
But we didn't have
problems?
no problem of the...
The
Oh, yeah, a
internet.
computer had
Oh, wait a
caused
second.
problems.
Why would a computer cause problems?
Being on the
because
internet,
you can have an online affair
I was-
with the computer.
I was getting more comfort and attention.
That's about an online thing.
I was getting more comfort and attention from people online than I was my own husband.
I wanted to actually spend time with her, but she said, now tell him what you said. Do not, I mean, you do not want to be here. I can see it in your face. Just leave, just leave. So I did. I had a gut feeling. So I parked my truck right by the house, went over to the window. I seen it right through the thing because we had the web TV. It was on a big screen TV. And it right on the thing says, I hope you do not find nobody because it hurt me so much because I love you so much. This is her
Well,
talking
that's your
to somebody,
fault.
to some guy.
That's your
because
fault. He was
she
there
met
for
the-
me
she
and you
met the person online. I mean, now tell me that this is not like, okay?
If you
I
would
should
have been there
have my
for
wife
me,
saying, I love
if
you
you
to
would have
another
been there
dude.
for me, I would have never done that.
So wait a minute. You're
So
saying...
this is the reason why
Hold on a
that
second.
we're
You-
having problems.
you're
Because
going
I
home-
can't
you're
trust
go-
her.
You go to your brother's house.
It's
and
not,
you-
like I'm out there cheating. I'm at my brother's house. Jesus.
Play
Doesn't
video
matter.
games.
You weren't there for me. I needed you. I was there for
Then
you for
drop
3.5 years, dragging you around. You used me.
Then drop
I
me an
felt
email.
used.
Then drop me
Why?
an email.
Because
That's all you have to do.
Wait a minute, but Mrs. Feder, let's explore that. Maybe what happened was, let's explore it. I don't know, I'm not sure. But maybe during the 3.5 years you were driving him, you felt needed.
And then once I let
And you
go?
felt in control, but then once he was able to drive himself, he could then make a decision where he wanted to go because he could get up and drive. Before then, wherever he wanted to go had to be dependent upon whether you were willing to take him there. And you were in control. So
That's-
is it that you lost the control once he learned to drive?
That's what
But he
I'm
was
saying.
always gone.
That's what I think. I think if she
So maybe if you were still driving him around, you'd feel better?
No, I'm not saying that. But just because he has his license and he's able to go doesn't mean he should abandon me and his
But
son.
he said that he asked you to
I
go
took
with
my
him
son
and you
a lot.
never wanted to
No,
go
he
anywhere
didn't. He
with
did
him.
not ask me to go play video games at his brother's house. No, he did not.
I asked you for the first 3 or 4 times, and then apparently it just.
Why do I want to sit there and watch you play video games?
When divorce court continues.
You say the man on the computer became the person that was there for you. How was he there?
Communicating.
Guys will tell you anything to get what they want. That's all I have to say.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Sheila Fetter, who says her husband Luke ignored her needs during their marriage.
Now that she has the computer, because I spilled pop on the web TV.
You say the man on the computer became the person that was there for you. How was he there?
Communicating. on the computer chatting.
Guys will tell you anything to get what they want. That's all I have to
So
say.
you
They didn't get nothing from me but conversation.
Well,
At
there's-
least they communicate, and you
There's
don't know
people
how
who
to
come over-
communicate.
There's a
So
person
the
who came
fact
over
that
your
you
house.
had a computer
They come
present
over.
in your home and you were able to talk to somebody else by computer and have a conversation with them, be it typed, written, or whatever, that made you feel better than going fishing with your husband
Or
and sitting
eating.
there talking with him. When you go fishing, you can talk all day long. The darn, you're sitting there waiting for the fish.
You know?
Well, by the time we got the computer, he just wanted to be video games. That was it. It was all about
But the video game ceased, and then she was like, well, just go to your brother's. I can see it already
How did
that
you
don't
know
want to.
that she was having this
Because
online affair on the computer?
I snuck through. I parked my truck at a pizza shop right behind our house, and I walked like in the thing. I had a gut feeling. I don't know why, but something told me I had a gut feeling. So I walked over. There was a curtain probably about maybe this far away that was actually peeking through the TV, and I got to read the screen and whatever, and it read something about, I hope you do not find nobody because it would break my heart because I love you so much.
So was that the first time you saw that?
That was the first one that I seen. So then I walked inside the back door, slammed it because made sure that she knew I was home. By the time I got in, she was on the couch, TV off, web TV off, and I said, what? I said, you done writing that letter? She goes, what are you talking about? I said, the one that you just got done writing on the web TV. She said, why are you in my business? I said, well, if you're writing somebody a note that's not to me, it's not
what,
your husband.
this finally made you
and
pay
she said-
attention to me?
And that's what she said. She goes, and she goes, what? She goes, I had to write to somebody.
Okay.
Somebody else. And this dude, every time I went to
So
my
that
brother's
doesn't
house.
say she's having an affair.
I didn't
Is that
have an
all you
affair.
saw?
Every time I left to my brother's house, she already told me that the dude called my house.
Did you ever have a conversation with this guy on the computer?
No, but every time that I left or was getting ready to, the web TV would always be on, but the TV would be off. They had their little signal. And then so this is what it actually was. I had a little thing. I had a gut feeling. So I went to work. Then I took a break from whatever, and so I went over to my buddy's house, and I made up a new screen name.
You made up a new
that's-
screen name?
That's where
To
everything
spy
came
on
in.
me.
And what happened
That
on the screen name?
I spied on her, so she says. I spied on her. If I have to, then that's how I had to get my wife back.
So then you spied on her, and doing that spying, what'd you find out?
Nothing.
That,
I never cheated on him.
Steve, somebody,
You made up a
whoever it
screen
was,
name.
I did. I made up a name of some guy, whatever. Sent her a fictitious picture, so that way she could actually see a face behind whatever, but of the mystery thing. This is how much I actually did.
Sherlock Holmes, gone.
No, my roommate that I have now has taught me a lot. So, but he actually he
knows a lot about computers.
He knows. Oh yeah. So I kind of like typed and typed. I said, I seen you in a chat room. How you doing? So we started talking. The next day I went back over again and talked to her again.
What'd you
So
say this time?
Just started talking to her
Just
about
chit-chat?
Yeah, just chit chat. And I mean, you're asking if she ever cheated on her husband. Blah blah blah.
No, that's not just chit chat. You asked her if she ever cheated.
No, it was things that we worked up to the issue.
So you said, have
I
you
didn't
ever
come around and
cheated?
say, hey, did you ever cheat on your husband?
But you
Just-
finally asked that question?
I finally did.
And what was her
and
answer?
She says, well, I think I said something like, have you ever like talked to anybody or met anybody online before? She says, well, yeah, I have met somebody, but that's something I have to take to my grave because I can never tell my husband. Because she actually did meet some dude, but
For 2
apparently,
seconds, and then I left.
apparently she said that all she did was just went there
I
and
did.
she
Hold on a second,
drove away.
stop. Take a deep breath. Once you,
Well, I'm trying to tell you my story. I mean, this is.
but I
never
said
cheated
take a
on
deep
him.
breath.
When Divorce Court continues.
Well, I wish that I could wave the magic wand and put you two back together, but unfortunately, Mrs. Fetter is fed up.
Closed captioning for Divorce Court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce Court continues in the case of Sheila Fetter, who says she turned to the internet for companionship because her husband Luke ignored her.
So when you went online and she said, yes, I've met somebody, but I'd never tell my husband,
Okay.
Did you follow up on that with her?
Well, at a later confrontation, because she was taking me to work,
Christmas Day.
there you go.
Back to taking you to work.
Yeah, Christmas Day, so to speak. I asked her, I said, so, did you ever meet this guy down wherever? And she said, no. I said, well, do you want to make sure? Because I said, I have proof that you actually did. Well, how do you have proof? You've been spying on me? I said, no. I said, you told me.
Was that right, Mrs. Fetter?
Nothing happened. I looked at him
So
and
what's
I
she gonna
left.
say?
He cheated on me when I was 7
What do you mean you
months
looked at him
pregnant.
when you left? You met this person that you had met online? You guys met at a bar somewhere?
No, we met in public at a gas station. I looked at him and I got in my car and took off.
You didn't like the way he looked?
No.
So what is it, Mrs. Fetter? You just tired of him now?
I just
Yeah.
want-
You
See,
just don't want to be bothered with him anymore?
No, he's got an attitude problem and he ain't gonna change. He ain't
He's
gonna
man,
change.
if I want her back,
He's
a
almost
lot.
30 years old and he ain't grown yet.
Why do you think he has an attitude problem?
Probably because he wants me back. Now he sees what's going on and now he wants me back.
I
You don't
do
think
want
you
her
have an
back.
attitude problem?
Oh, I know I do because
Oh,
of
okay.
him.
All right. I
See-
just thought maybe you thought that your attitude was
no.
just fine.
See, so now once
Oh, okay.
I mean,
As long as you acknowledge that you have one too, because you've
Oh,
been
I know
over here
I do.
all day long with.
she's just disgusted with me.
I am. I'm
You,
disgusted
yeah,
with
totally
him.
disgusted. You threw at him. Boo! You out the
see-
window.
Right.
But see,
Right?
I tried for over a year to get him to talk to me. He wouldn't communicate.
and now,
But
In
now
one
you
ear,
found
out
this
the
guy
other.
online that's talking to you and talking
Oh,
to
I
you.
ain't
real
got no
well.
guy in my life. I'm all by myself, and I'm happy with that.
Okay.
But now that I'm moving on, I'm happy. Now he wants to be there. Now he wants to
now
be
she
the
has her
husband.
online buddies though. She gets
So
on.
now you want your wife back,
I do very much so.
and you don't want him back.
No, I'm
no
done.
way.
No,
You have a 2-year-old child.
See, and I'm willing, Your Honor. I'm willing to do.
he's willing
Not
now.
for
Now
my-
that it's on his terms. But when I sat at home and tried, he wasn't willing to try.
What is there? What would he need to do to make you
See, I'm
want
willing
him
to
back?
overlook the fact that.
Hold on.
for my
What would he
boy.
need to do to make you want him back?
Nothing.
Oh,
Nothing he's
you
gonna
just
do.
don't want it.
No.
There is nothing he can do.
Nothing.
See, I'm willing to.
I've been
overlook it
separated from him
without-
for 5 months, and he has not done anything to make me want him back. Nothing.
Well, now you have a 2-year-old, and she just doesn't want you back, Mr. Fetter.
Well, I can look at her and still find a beautiful person because I love her to death. I married her when she was big. I married her when whatever. I'm still married to her. I mean, I love her to death. Okay, and
And you even willing
granted,
to go
I have
to the
I have
mall.
a son. I have a son, and
You even
together,
willing to go to the mall
I'm willing to do anything.
to stay at home and stop playing video games with your brothers and play at home.
I'm willing to give up everything. I mean, granted, I may not have gave up everything when she called me. I think it was like a couple days before our anniversary, but
Why are you so willing to do so now?
because I love her.
Like the saying goes, don't know what you got till it's gone.
And you know,
Because
and a
you
lot of
don't
people
miss
say,
your
and a lot of
water
people
till
say,
the well runs dry.
and a lot of people will say that, do you really want her back because you can't have her right now? No, that's not that. I just miss. I miss having her. I miss the closeness. I mean, because when my boy was born, we actually were the closest the two people can be, and I miss that. And I miss that with her.
Well, you
Not
should've
with
thought
anybody
about
else.
that.
Everybody else.
So it hasn't been anyone else, just the video games and your brother and
no,
hanging
I won't
out.
say that.
Oh, we had a girlfriend.
Oh.
I had a girlfriend,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
but I broke up because I want her.
Well, I wish that I could wave the magic wand and put you two back together, but unfortunately, Mrs. Fetter is fed up.
The divorce court continues.
Divorce is painful. It hurts. Losing someone you love hurts. Been there. Know the pain.
Divorce court continues in the case of Luke Fetter, who wants to save his marriage with his wife Sheila, but she says it's too late.
See, now I'm going to church because of this, because I want.
Okay.
That's the laughing matter.
Well,
let's
you
say.
keep doing it.
But I want the church because church is actually helping me be a better person.
It should.
I mean,
that's what it's supposed to
because,
do.
I mean, I asked her whatever to go with me one time, but she says no, just you and Dylan go.
Okay, what
Just
you
and
need to
Dylan
do,
go.
what you need to do, Mr. Fetter, is you continue to do what you need to do to make yourself a better person
And this is true.
and to become a better father and a better adult and to grow up and to mature. All right?
That's what I told
now
him.
that you've realized what you're missing and realized something that you could have done differently, it may not happen with Mrs. Fetter.
But how do you
it could
let-
happen with somebody else. But you continue to work on you because it's an individual affair. We have to take care of us, and the only person we can really change is us.
But how do you let go of something how do you let go of someone that you actually have to see every day?
Well, it's gonna be painful, but you gotta let go.
I mean, you can't move from intimacy to a friend just like that.
No, you can't. But it's a process. But you have to do it for the sake of your child. You gotta at least be friends, cordial with each other, respect each other, at least communicate with each other because you've got to talk about your son, if nothing else. And it won't be easy. Divorce is painful. It hurts. Losing someone you love hurts. Been there. Know the pain.
This is true.
Takes time. You won't get over it overnight. But trust me, you will get over it.
Yeah, when the right person comes
Yeah,
along.
you'll get over
I wish it was her, though, but that's
All right, so in the meanwhile, are you working?
I am, yes.
And then you're working too?
I'm on unemployment right now, looking for a job.
And why are you on unemployment?
I got laid off from a security company.
Under the law, when you're on unemployment, you can't get any more than 1/4 of your unemployment compensation. I'm going to order $175 per month as child support while you're unemployed.
Okay.
Payable 1/2 on the 1st and 15th of each month as of the 15th of this month. You're also to advise her once you become employed.
Okay.
And then you need to consult the local district attorney's office so that they can get an order enforced in order to collect the support while he's unemployed. It can come directly out of his unemployment check.
Can you also
What?
let me know, because I mean, right now, if she moves, because right now all I have is a
Okay,
pager
you
number.
have to advise him whenever you move and keep him advised of the address where you and the child reside.
How about a phone number?
And a phone number.
Because
But you
pager,
also
she
need
has
to
the
go,
choice
okay,
not to
here's
call me
what
back.
I'm going to do. I'm going
Can I
to
have a
order you
choice
into
to hang up on you?
mediation to deal with custody. But he's entitled to know, have a name, an address, and a phone number where he can reach the child.
Okay.
All right. If you want to put 2 phones in the house, then put 2 phones and give the child a phone. But he needs to
No,
have.
we
a
need
number.
one for the computer.
Court.
All rise. Parties may leave the courtroom.
Are they gonna be all right?
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about that. She's fed up. She's fed up. She's
After
fed
all
up.
that, then he says,
She's
but I
fed
want
up.
her back.
Well,
You think counseling could have fixed that?
I think so. But at the time, he
She's
wasn't
not
willing.
Well, and I mean, now.
When
she's not
she
willing.
wanted counseling, he didn't want counseling. When she wanted to save the marriage, he wasn't willing to save the marriage. Now he realizes it, and I don't know why he realizes it, but he's come to a realization that he had a good relationship. It just seems like they just grew apart in terms of, but basically it was lack of communication.
Like
And
you
he
said,
just
they
wanted to go have his fun with his video games.
I walked in the bedroom, saw a guy sitting in the chair with his shirt off. Obviously, he was cheating on me.
He's a liar. He's no good, and he's never taken care of his wife and children. Never.
She come run out the bedroom door, buck naked.
I was throwing adult parties at my house. I had to resort to stripping because
still ain't
he
paid
left
no
me
bill.
a major
So
debt.
what was this man doing in your bedroom then?
It was just a friend. He was watching TV.
He was just a friend.
If I'm
That
That's
just
how he
happened to
wasn't a
be in
part.
your bedroom with have his clothes on.
Now Consuelo McFarland says the marriage is over and wants Jeffrey Hood to pay her spousal support. In today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Consuelo McFarland versus Jeffrey Hood. I'm advised that after 7 years of marriage, you're divorcing, and Mrs. McFarland, you want him to pay spousal support. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me about it.
After 7 years of me supporting him, he did nothing for me. I had no other choice. He left me in so much debt that I had to resort to stripping. So I have a young...
7 years and now you're stripping?
No, ma'am, not
That's
anymore. It was
something she always
degrading.
wanted to do,
It was
young.
degrading, ma'am. It was
Early
very
on in the
degrading. It
marriage,
hurt
she
my
decided.
self-esteem. I have a 10-year-old daughter. I can't let her grow up to see me doing that. I
Young.
did it 2 times. That was it.
Young.
So why do you say
He left me
7
in-
years in the marriage you supported him
He
and then
left
you
me-
resorted to stripping? What were you doing before?
He left me with all the
Nothing.
bills of 7 years. I worked, ma'am.
Yeah,
16
she got
hours
a
every day.
sad
I
story
worked.
for everything. She always told me she had a
Ma'am,
sad
I'm here to
story.
What do
tell
you
you
mean
the
by
truth.
that?
She always told me that she had
That's
a
not true.
sad story for anybody
That's
who
not
won't listen.
true. That's not
So
true.
you better watch
This man
out.
is a
We all
liar.
been here
This
crying.
man is a liar, a con artist. Okay, he took me
But
for
wait,
everything I
don't
had
understand.
and left me in debt.
Okay, you've told me something inconsistent, though, Mrs. McFarland. For 7 years, I supported him.
Yes, ma'am, I
But
did.
then I had to go stripping.
Yeah,
If
at
you
the end.
supported him, means you were working.
Yes.
What were you doing?
I was working I had a lot of different jobs. I worked at a daycare center. I worked at a convenience store.
I worked also.
And you were the only one
drive-in.
working.
Yeah.
I was working too young.
And then suddenly you had to
He
start
wouldn't work.
stripping. What was wrong with the other jobs?
Well, I was working. When he left, he wasn't helping me at all, so I asked him to leave.
But he wasn't helping you when he was there, so what's the difference?
Right, so I asked him to leave, so I had started throwing parties at my house to try to get out of debt. You know,
She
all the
wasn't
debt
in no
I'm
debt,
in.
Your Honor.
Hold on, Mr.
Your Honor,
Hood, I'm
I'm
gonna
in
give you a
debt.
chance.
I'm in major debt.
But no,
Major
answer
debt.
my question. 7 years, you did all the work.
Yes, ma'am.
You worked daycare, other types
Yes.
of jobs.
Yes.
It wasn't stripping. Which means if you did all the work, he wasn't working, right?
No, he would watch the kids sometimes.
Okay. So when he left you in the same position.
Raised the kids.
No, he left me
Mr. Hood,
with nothing.
Hold on, I'm asking a question. When he left you in the same position you were in when he was with you, right?
Yeah, with all the bills. I didn't have the bills when I met him.
But you had
They
the bills during
accumulated
the
over
7
the
years.
years. It accumulated, yes, ma'am, over the years.
What kind of bills?
Lights, gas,
didn't have no
hospital
Those
bills.
accumulate every day. What are you talking about
But
over
you have
the years?
to pay them. You have to pay
paying
them.
the bills,
I wouldn't
man?
have had to strip if he would have helped me just a little
What?
bit. Just a little bit.
So-
I wouldn't have had to resort to exploiting myself.
Your Honor, when we first got together, she always said she had a fantasy of becoming a stripper
That's not true.
and a
And
porno
that's what
star.
interested you in being with her, right?
Said she wanted to be
No,
a
that's
porno
not
star
true.
also.
That's
No,
a lie.
that didn't interest her. I fell
I
in
have an
love with her.
impressionable
That's what she
daughter.
told you.
That's
I'm
what she
gonna
told
set
me
out to
early
be
on
like
before we
that.
got
Hold on a
married.
second.
No.
Before we got married, she told me that she wanted to be a stripper. Always a fantasy of her and a porno star.
That's not true.
And
Exactly
what did she do?
told me.
Did she act out the fantasy with you, or
No, that's just something I guess she wanted to do. You know, she had to get out of the system.
That's a lie.
She wasn't backed up in no bills, Your Honor, when I left.
What
All
was the
her bills
financial
intact.
situation?
Her financial, she wasn't working, but her bills weren't backed up like they is now.
what kind of work did you do?
I was a parts salesman.
No, ma'am.
Auto
And
parts
you worked
sales.
on a regular basis for 7 years.
Yes, I did.
He would quit his job and I
but
could
Yes, I
tell.
between the
did.
two of you, you didn't have enough money to pay the bills. Is that the question?
We
Is that the
paid. Her
issue?
bills was current. Like I said, she got a
not true.
sad
Why do
story.
you keep
for
saying
everything.
her bills
Well,
if you
our
were living
bills.
together?
Our bills was current.
never looked at
ma'am.
us as being
Our
together.
our
Everything
bills
was
were
on me.
current.
So
Took
the
me
lights
for a
and gas
ride.
were all paid.
Yes, all that stuff was paid.
No, ma'am.
And when we
No, ma'am.
separated, I was giving her $200
That's
a
not
week.
true. Oh, Lord, that's
I was
not
giving
true.
her $160.
That's not true.
$200
I
a
swear.
week, and she
I call
know
him
it.
every
She's
day.
sitting
He
there
won't help me
lying
with
to you in
nothing.
your
We don't have the
face.
things that we
I
need.
gave her-
I had no other choice.
I gave her money
So
for my
wait, hold
kids.
on a second. Stop. If you're working full time, he's working part time.
We never worked the same time.
Oh.
If I'm working, then he's not
I
working.
was working and taking care of the kids. She took
No,
a break.
ma'am, that's not true.
What
She
did he
took
do
a
in terms of
10-year
taking care of the kids?
Sit there and lay on the couch and watch TV and drink pop all day. That's it. He never
I
did
took care of
anything.
the
He was a
kid.
couch potato.
She took a
He never
10-year
did
break from my
anything.
daughter.
That is the truth.
She took a
That is the
10-year
truth.
break
Don't
from my
even
daughter
try it.
and a 4-year break
He
from my
didn't do
son.
nothing.
She never did nothing
What do you
for my
mean by
son.
that?
Never did anything.
How do you mean she took a 10-year
When my
break?
son was born,
How am I
she
gonna take a
basically
break?
handed my son to me.
That's not
And
true.
then-
I
what
took
did you
care.
do
I
with
was changing the diaper. I was feeding him. I was going
That's
to
not
work.
true.
She's laying in bed
That's
going
not
out with her
true.
friends.
He
doing
never
what she
came.
wanted to
10
do.
years?
For the 4 years. 10 years, I raised my daughter.
That's not true.
I potty trained her. I did all that for her.
No, he
She's
didn't.
up
And
here
what was your
lying.
wife doing during those 10
Nothing.
years?
Nothing.
He's lying.
Now she
With the
says
sad stories.
she says you were
I'm
doing
finna
nothing.
start crying because
He
she's
did
telling
nothing
stories.
for us.
I don't
Nothing
understand.
whatsoever.
The two of you are, what you're saying to me is the difference between night and day. I worked, I took care of the kids, he did nothing.
He's a con
Mr.
artist.
Hood, I worked, I took care of the kids,
Right.
she
for a
did
ride.
My
nothing.
daughter would never
My
ever
bills,
get
you
to
heard,
school.
Your Honor,
I used
my
to get
bills,
up.
my bills.
I
I
used
had
to
to
get
do
up,
it
take
all.
my
I
daughter to
promise
school.
you. I
make
bought
sure she
everything
ate.
and I did it all. That is the truth.
So if you bought it and paid it all, then how do you end up with the bills unpaid?
Well, we've been separated now for 2 years. When he left me with them bills.
There wasn't no
so I
bills,
had,
Your Honor.
I, had,
You were
I lost
working
my
and
job.
you're
when he left.
inconsistent. If I'm working and paying them all,
I gave
then
him the
how are they
money.
unpaid?
I gave him the money to go
She-
pay
she-
it. He bought fast food for the
Your
kids
Honor,
instead of cooking.
I
was
paid
working
the
60 hours
bills.
every
I can't
day.
hear
I
both
couldn't
of
come
you.
home
I'm
to
sorry.
pay the
I'm
bills.
sorry.
So he come every Friday. I give him my paycheck. He supposed to go pay the bills. He eat the
Paycheck.
money up instead.
You was at somebody
So-
else.
Wait a minute. So you
I never had no
worked every
time.
and
Cheating
you
on me. I forgot
worked.
about
And I
that.
never had no time to pay the
She was
bills.
cheating
Hold on
on
a
me,
second.
Yon.
And your husband would come get your check
Yes.
to
One
go pay
time.
the bills, but
He's
instead he
supposed
didn't
to.
pay them.
No, he never paid them.
I gave her money.
I
I was
don't
making
have
way
no
more
idea
money
what
than
he
she
did.
was.
You know what? I'm tired of this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm tired of this.
Okay.
Because somebody is lying, and somebody is telling the truth, or either both of you are lying.
That's
He's
her.
like-
But
that's his
now,
thing.
the
That's
two
his
of you
thing.
did not live in the same household together for 7 years and can't stand here and don't know which which one of you worked and which one of you did.
Yeah, her bills.
On and off.
I just want to know which one worked.
we both work.
On and off.
We work.
Okay,
I-
so stop. I finally heard we
Okay.
both worked. Finally. Before it was I did all the work and he didn't. Then it was I worked, she didn't. So I told you both one of you is lying or both of you is lying. I finally got the truth. Both of you worked
Yes, ma'am.
at different times.
I believe
Now,
that she worked.
Stop. Secondly, you're saying that I gave him the check he got my check when I did work, and he didn't pay the bills. Did you go get a check?
One time.
That's not
I gave
true.
my check every Friday.
On 2 different jobs,
So
I picked up my
wait,
check.
here we go again. Nope. I gave him my check every Friday. I gave her my check every Friday. One of you lying.
But, Your Honor, she would come.
One of you is lying about that statement.
When she would
He
get
said he hadn't
paid,
got my check
we would
once.
just bring the money home. It was just,
Oh, you brought it home.
the money was just,
He never
you know,
brought his money home,
you can
Your
buy,
Honor.
you know, if you needed
He never
money,
brought
you
his
just go.
money home.
Like, she just keep it
He
like
took it to the casino.
Stop.
When divorce court continues.
She come run out the bedroom door, buck naked,
So what was this man doing in your bedroom then?
It was just a friend. He was watching TV.
with his shirt off. She naked. What?
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Consuelo McFarland, who says that she had to resort to stripping because Jeffrey was too lazy to work.
Let me ask you this one. See if you know the answer. Where are the children?
I have them.
I have my
He
son.
deprives me of seeing my
I
son.
knew-
He deprives me of seeing my son.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, this is ridiculous. How many children? Oh,
I have
stop.
2.
How many children do you have?
I have 2.
You agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are they?
My
10 and
daughter's
4.
10 and my son is 4.
Okay, now where is the son living?
He lives with me.
He lives with her. He be mostly with me.
Because I don't have a car to come get him, ma'am.
So technically,
Yeah.
he lives.
He
Hold
just
on.
kicked me while I'm
Technically,
down.
he lives with your wife.
That's
you while
all.
you
That's
down.
all he doing.
Technically, he lives with your wife, but he spends more time with you.
Yeah,
Because he takes him and won't bring him back, ma'am.
Your Honor, I can take him back
He deprived
tomorrow.
me of seeing
She'll
my
call
son
me
'cause
3
he
days
want me
later.
back.
Come get your son. I go pick him up.
Why did you all separate?
Because he lies. The truth, he would
She a
never admit
cheater.
him.
She an adulterer.
What do you
She
mean
too
cheating?
much.
What'd you tell me about that?
Well, I came home, brought my kids home one day. I kept both of my kids, my daughter and my son. We were separated.
true.
We were separated like 3 or 4 months. Come walking in the door, at the house, I key to the house. She come run out the bedroom door, buck naked.
That's not
She
true.
had a house coat on, but
That's
she
not
was
true.
naked. I opened the door. She closed the bedroom door, opened the door. Here's a guy
That's
sitting
not
in a
true.
chair watching my TV.
That's not true. That's not true. If I
So
was,
that's a lie too,
There's
huh?
a losing.
Yes, ma'am.
David
Yes,
Okay, now
ma'am.
what
Yes,
part
ma'am.
of that
Can I tell
is
you
a
about
lie?
that? I'll tell you exactly about that. I was throwing adult parties at my house. He was watching my children. The party didn't happen.
Wait a minute now. Adult parties like stripping parties?
Yes, ma'am. I had to resort to stripping because
still ain't
he
pay
left
no
me in
bill.
such major
She ain't pay
debt.
no bill.
Hold on, Mr.
He
Hood.
left
Let me
me in
hear
such
this.
major debt. I needed a large amount of money quickly, so I had to go and throw parties at my house. Only
Throwing
to a
adult
couple.
parties. What
Yes,
does that
ma'am.
mean, adult parties?
Strip
Orgies?
parties, strip, no, just strip
She had to do
dancing.
that.
Strip. Yes, I did
Who
have
was
to
the
do
stripper?
that. I had to strip.
Yeah, she
And how many people came to the party?
Well, at this time, no one showed up, so it was no party. So he come home at 6 o'clock in the morning. He brings my kids in to see this here.
I didn't
and
know
to
you was over there
embarrass
cheating
me,
with
to
another guy.
embarrass me.
How I know you was in the bed with
I
another guy?
wasn't cheating with no one. Nothing was
I
going on. Like
was
he said,
psychic,
he was
knew you
watching
was in there
TV.
with another
Nothing
guy.
was happening.
So you
Nothing
threw
was
a
happening.
party, but nobody came.
Right, so we, you know, a couple people needed to stay over because they didn't have a way home.
Wait a minute.
Friends, nothing was going on. No one I was cheating with.
Miss
He did
Mc-
not catch me in the
Miss
bed or none of that.
McFarland,
That's a
you
lie.
don't listen to yourself. I threw a party, no one came over. But a couple of people had to stay over because no one came to get them.
Yeah.
If they didn't come, how did they stay over?
You can't throw a party with 2 people. It was only 2 people.
Oh, so a
And-
party has to be more than 2.
She threw a couple
It had to be a,
parties.
you know,
Threw 'em about
no
5
people
parties.
showed up. So the party
It's 2
didn't go.
people.
That's not enough for the
So,
party.
but you still don't say no people showed up. You said a few.
But what I'm saying is the party was canceled. We did not throw a party that night.
She threw 4
He
or 5
came
parties.
home.
What did you call it? Couldn't it have been a private party, just you and one person?
Yeah, but it wasn't like that for me. Stripping is not a profession that I seeked out to do.
It was a
I have
fantasy
morals.
early on when we got together.
That's crazy right there. That's
I
not
don't
true
understand. So what
whatsoever.
was this man doing in your bedroom then?
It was just a friend. He was watching TV.
With his shirt off, she naked. What?
That's not true.
Shit.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I
I know I
was
wear
not
glasses,
naked.
but
I
I
had
ain't
clothes
blind.
on.
But wait a minute,
He
you
came
said
to my house.
You said that you were doing adult parties in
Yes.
order to raise money, and your husband had the children.
But this night we
was
didn't
took
throw
care
a
of my
party.
But that night it wasn't a party.
Right.
It was just a friend.
Just a friend that was over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
If I'm
That
Just
night it
happened
wasn't
to
a
be in
party.
your bedroom with half his clothes off.
It was
Yeah.
someone out in the living room, you know. It was not nothing going on. The party
Why
didn't
you
take
slammed
place.
the door?
Well, I thought stripping, nothing ever goes on. You just take off your clothes.
Well, ma'am, I'm gonna tell you, it was so degrading. I wasn't in it. I wanted to
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen. And
I want to say one thing.
2-3 parties that was there.
If this woman called me, like I said, I'm such a bad person.
Yes, he
Why
is.
would she call me? Like I said, when she get in a crisis, like Like I said, she went to the
not
hospital
true.
3 times. She called me. I'm
You
sitting
the
in the hospital.
father of her children.
But I still, boy,
He
I'm
does
such a
nothing
bad
for
person. Why
us.
would she do that?
He does nothing for us.
You know, I take
So
care
why
of
do
my...
you call this man if he's not going to do anything?
Ask me, do I call him now? I don't call him because he disappoint me. He'll lead you down a dark alley and get you killed. He don't even tell the truth at all.
And then she
I'm going to
called
pay
me
my
tomorrow.
bills because I know I got a certain amount of money. I got to pay my bills. I'm depending on a certain amount of money from him. He know the money not coming, so he let me go and spend my money, knowing that he don't have the money coming. Just lead me in the dark. It just doesn't make any sense to how he don't tell the truth.
You know, it doesn't make any sense that either one of you do what you do.
When divorce court continues.
Silk panties out the window. Remember?
So you had sex in the car?
No.
I don't know where
I
them
took
panties
this young
came
lady
from.
to do her laundry.
Oh.
She left. I didn't cheat, girl. I ain't cheat.
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Consuelo McFarland as she testifies about how she caught Jeffrey cheating.
Do you know who I feel sorry for? Is your children.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
If she called me tomorrow and needed me, I would be there
It's
for
not
her.
true,
I
ma'am.
still
So you
care
still
for
love
her.
her?
It's not
I care
true.
for her. I don't
No.
want to be married to her, but I still care about her.
He cared for me,
I
but
don't
he had
have
3
no
affairs
grudges
on
in
me,
that.
but he cared for
3
me. I don't
affairs?
think so. Silk panties out the window. Remember? You
Who's
know-
I don't remember silk panties out the window. What was that all about?
I called this girl. I called his pager back. She told me she was pregnant by him, but he's such an angel, though. Okay.
I ain't got no more
So
kids,
why
y'all.
did the
I
silk
asked him,
panties
could I-
still get thrown out the window?
I asked him, could I use his car? As soon as I get in the car, it's a pair of panties sitting there.
That's such a
so
bad
I knew
person.
he wanted me to find them, so I threw them out
Why
the
would I
window.
use my car, Your Honor, for such a bad person?
So you had sex in the car?
No.
I don't know where
I
them
took
panties
this young
came
lady.
from. No.
I'm not. I knew you ain't gonna believe.
Angel.
I took her to do her laundry.
Oh.
She left. I didn't cheat, Your Honor. I ain't cheat.
That's not true. Your Honor, I promise you, this man,
I
he
didn't
lies.
cheat. I
He
never
lies.
cheated on her.
He make them up.
Hold on a
never
second.
cheated on
He
her.
make them
Well,
up.
you know what, Mr. Hood, I have to give you credit for being a little bit original. That's the new one.
Yeah, I know
that's
they
how he
think.
kept me for 7 years
Your
lying to
Honor,
me, Your
I
Honor.
know
That's
everybody
how he
think
kept
all
me.
men are dogs. We all cheat. I never cheated on
So
her.
you took
he
her to
did.
do her
Yes,
laundry
he
and she
did.
just
Now, the
happened to leave her silk panties in your car.
Yes, Your Honor.
the older
Now the
woman you
first
cheated
time
with?
she cheated on me.
The older woman he
The
cheated
one
on me
first time
with.
she cheated on
I
me.
really cared about her.
I had
That's what
spent the
he
night
told
at my mom's house. My mom was sick. I stayed with her. I got up in the morning, come take my. This when my son was born. Come take my daughter to school. I was coming back home anyway. So do the windows? She had the shades open. I see this guy running from her bedroom, running out the back door like he a Batman, seeing a bat light or something.
He's lying.
And
No such thing happened.
she
He's lying.
talking
That
about
was
it didn't
totally
happen.
made
He
up.
was there. And then
He
one
just
the
making
other
that one
time,
up?
Yes.
she
He's
went
good,
motorcycle
though.
club.
He's good.
She started
Motorcycle club.
Started going to a motorcycle club, and I guess one of these guys started liking her. And like 2 weeks later, on my birthday, the guy threw a brick through my windshield, trying to
He
scare
didn't
me
see
off.
him, and he don't know who.
He
it
left
is.
a note on
He
the
just-
brick.
No, he didn't.
He left
No,
a
he didn't.
note.
No, he didn't.
Because
I
he
was there.
started liking
Now,
her.
Mrs. McFarland, you have stood here for the last few minutes telling me how this man never worked. He didn't take care of you. You took care of him.
Yes,
You spent all of your money. He left you high and dry with all these
Yes,
bills.
ma'am.
And he's a lazy son of a gun. That's what it boils down to,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
But you asking me to order him to pay spousal support.
Because for all
How
these
is
years
that
I've
supposed
taken
to
care
happen?
of him, and now I need his help. He left me in debt with all these bills, and I need his help.
But if he doesn't work, he's never worked. He's never done anything.
Right now,
You've
he's
been the
not working.
provider. How the devil he supposed to pay you?
I'm working.
He made the baby with me. He should help me.
I take care of my son.
He
Take care
do
of my
not.
kids.
My son
Is there
and
a
my
child
daughter don't
support
have
order?
anything.
I need
As soon
child
as I get
support
back,
from
there
her.
will be one. I
She
have
should be
it.
paying me child support, spousal support.
You know, and I'm very serious about
Pain
that.
and suffering.
Stop.
Serious. He's playing. Everything is a joke to him.
Hey, I ain't no joke. I'm not
Everything
joking.
is a joke.
Stop.
The divorce court continues.
Sometimes you talk so much, you let your mouth write a ticket your behind can't cash.
Divorce court continues in the case of Consuelo McFarland, who says her husband Jeffrey is lazy, and now she wants him to pay her spousal support.
In terms of child support, I don't know who has these children.
I have an order in.
Well, if there's an order, I won't deal with it. But in terms of spousal support, what kind of bills are you talking about? Because spousal support is not paying bills. You want him to help you pay bills that he left?
I want some help from him, period.
Okay, you want him to help you pay bills that he left?
Feed the children, pay some bills, anything. He's not doing anything,
Okay,
ma'am.
Mrs. McFarland.
Not 10 cents toward help.
If you have a child support order, or at least you've gone to court and you're waiting for a judge to make a decision on child support, that's what you're telling me, right?
Yeah, for child support.
Okay. Spousal support means I want him to give money to me.
Yes, ma'am.
To you. But
The
you
bills
also
that he
said he
ran
left
up.
you with a lot of bills unpaid.
Yes, ma'am.
What were the bills?
A $3,200 gas bill.
That's your gas bill.
That's your gas bill.
She made
He
that
lived
gas
there.
bill. We wasn't together.
Your
we was
Honor,
not together,
Your Honor,
Your Honor.
I'm
She made that
28
gas bill.
years
She was
old.
around about
We were
16.
together for 9 years.
$3,200 is a gas bill for you. Never paid it.
When she was 8, before she even met me, she had that bill.
When she was 8 years old.
When she was like 18 something, she had that bill. I wasn't with
That's not
her.
true.
She
That's
made
not
that
true,
bill.
Your Honor.
Wait a minute. What state do you live in?
She got a
that you had-
$2,000 phone bill
Michigan.
before she met me. Oh, she
I
had all
don't
the
have a
bills
phone
before she
bill.
met me.
I have a light and a gas bill that he was with me when we accumulated.
$3,200?
We lived in a house that
messed
wasn't
my bills
ventilated
up.
good. We lived in a house that wasn't ventilated good. Within 1 month, they tried to charge me $600. They said there was nothing I could do about it, and they still saying pay it.
So this $3,200 bill is accumulated over what period of time?
That's
over the whole time.
7 years?
Up until the last, 3 years, 3 or 4 years maybe?
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
quickly.
But you
can't
working and
believe that.
paying everything. That's what you just told me.
Right. She the poster child for the working class.
I work. That's right. I work. I'm
work
proud to
too.
work. I work 16 hours every
Okay.
day. I'm very proud to work. Teach my kids the right thing to work better than he do.
She got a good head on the show. I give her.
I don't want to hear it. What other kind of bills are we talking about?
My light bill is $600.
That he left owing?
No.
It's in my name, so he felt I owe it.
Was this the bill that was
Yes,
owing
yes,
when he
ma'am.
left?
As of right now.
No. What was owing when he left?
Oh, maybe about $300.
Yeah, can I say something?
But when he left, I didn't have any money to pay the bill, so they have one up higher and then they got cut off.
I can't deal with him going up higher because you don't have money to pay.
Yes.
I can only deal with what was there when he left. And it's inconsistent with your statement earlier that I was working and paying everything. If you got a $3,200
I had to pay
gas
all
bill,
the
that's
rent
a
by
basic
myself.
bill.
He never paid
before
any
she's with
rent in
her-
all these years.
Her daughter's
stop.
father.
He
What
never
kind of
paid
money are
any
you earning
rent.
now?
I'm making around about
He don't have
say
a
around
job.
about 4 a week.
He don't have a
400
job.
a week?
Yeah.
He didn't have a job.
He don't have a job, man.
Okay, then that makes this order easy.
I'll
Spousal
work.
support is denied.
All
I ain't gonna play without a
rise.
job.
Parties may leave the courtroom.
You talk too much.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
All this time, she gonna holler, he don't have a job. The man telling her, I earn $400 a week. I want spousal support. He don't have no job. He don't have
he
no
don't
job.
work.
He don't have no job. He don't work. He don't work. What is
Why
that?
did they do that?
He don't work.
stand over
He don't have no job. So why are you asking me to make him pay you money if he doesn't have a job? And then when he tells her, yes, I do.
And she wants to argue with him.
Oh. Sometimes you talk so much, you let your mouth write a ticket your behind can't cash.